Today I will share with you some life-changing philosophy. Before we start, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Also, comment where are you watching from and at what time you are watching. Have a nice sleep. In the wise words of Seneca, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. What if I told you that in just 7 days you could become a completely different person? Not just a slightly improved version of yourself, but someone so transformed that even your closest friends and family would have to take a second look. This isn't some gimmick. This is a disciplined, calculated, and relentless approach to reinventing yourself from the inside out. You don't need years to change. You don't need to wait for the right time. All you need is 1 week, 7 days of absolute commitment to step into a new identity that commands respect, discipline, and purpose. It's about dismantling the patterns that have held you back and forging the habits that create the person you were always meant to be. It's about choosing your future instead of passively waiting for it to happen. Understand this. People who make drastic changes don't wait for a perfect moment. They don't sit around hoping things will get easier. They seize the now. They realize that the version of themselves they dream of becoming isn't waiting for them in the distant future. It's built today, in this very moment. Transformation doesn't happen slowly over years. It happens in an instant. The moment you decide and follow it with unrelenting action. When this week is over, you will not be the same. Your mind, your body, your habits, they will shift to match the highest version of yourself. If you've ever wished for a reset button, this is it. But there's no room for hesitation, no half measures, no excuses. So if you're ready to stop playing small, to stop waiting for change, and to finally take full control of your future, listen closely. Your transformation begins now. It all starts with one decision: to stop lying to yourself, to stop pretending that everything is fine when deep down you know you've been playing small. The hardest thing to do isn't changing your life. It's admitting that you need to change, that the way you've been operating, the habits, the mindset, the distractions, isn't getting you anywhere. That's the real battle, and today you face it head on. The Stoics had a practice of radical self-honesty. They believed that if you wanted to master life, you had to first master yourself. Seneca once wrote, "A consciousness of wrongdoing is the first step to salvation." Think about that. Most people never take that first step because it's uncomfortable. It's easier to blame the world, the economy, other people. But if you keep blaming everything outside of you, you stay powerless. The moment you take full responsibility, when you stop making excuses and start owning your actions, that's the moment your transformation truly begins. So today, you're going to do something that most people never do. You're going to take a brutally honest inventory of your life. And I mean brutal. No sugarcoating, no justifications. Grab a notebook, open your phone's notes app, whatever works. But write this down. What habits are holding you back? What patterns keep repeating in your life that you know are destructive? Where are you wasting time? What fears have kept you from taking action? What are you tolerating that you should have cut out a long time ago? If this exercise makes you uncomfortable, good. That means you're finally seeing the truth. And now, here's the hardest part. You have to let go of the old you, the version of yourself that made excuses, the one that procrastinated, the one that allowed bad habits to take control. That version has to die today. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." What he meant was that real death isn't the end of life. It's the refusal to truly live while you're here. And if you don't confront the parts of yourself that are keeping you stuck, you will stay exactly where you are, watching life pass you by. So how do you do this? You need a symbolic act, something to mark this as the official moment you left your old self behind. Take that list you wrote, the habits, the fears, the excuses, and destroy it. Burn it, rip it up, throw it away. Whatever it takes to physically commit to the change. The Stoics believed in the power of symbolic rituals to reinforce decisions. They knew that the mind needs proof, evidence that a change has begun. This act is your proof, and let me be clear, the old you will try to come back. In moments of doubt, when things get tough, your mind will try to pull you back into your comfort zone. That's why every time an old habit resurfaces, you remind yourself, that's not me anymore. You don't negotiate. You don't entertain the thought. You shut it down. Because the only way to truly change is to burn the bridge to your past self, so there is no way back. Your habits are either working for you or against you. There's no in between. Every single day, the things you do, the routines you follow, and the choices you make are shaping your future. And most people, they don't even realize it. Now, I know restructuring your entire day might sound overwhelming, but trust me, it's about making those small, incremental changes that add up to huge transformations. Start with the morning. How you begin your day sets the tone for the rest of it. Think about it. If you start off rushed and chaotic, that's likely how you'll feel for hours afterward. But start calm, planned, and with purpose, and you maintain that control and focus throughout the day. So tomorrow, when you wake up, take a moment, just a few minutes, sit at the edge of your bed and, like Seneca, who advocated for quiet reflection to prepare for the day's challenges, reflect on what you want to achieve today. Not just the tasks, but the personal attributes you want to embody. Once you've set your intentions for the day, make your bed. It's a simple task, but as Admiral McRaven shared in his famous speech, if you want to change the world, start by making your bed. It gives you the first accomplishment of the day and sets you up to keep achieving. Then give yourself some time for a bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be a full workout, just something to get the blood flowing and wake your body up. The Stoics were big on the connection between a sound mind and a sound body. Epictetus used to say that it's essential to exercise not just our minds but our bodies too, keeping both in good health. After you've got some movement in, make sure you're giving your body the right fuel, a healthy breakfast, something that makes you feel good, not something you'll regret an hour later. Remember, this is about setting up patterns that boost your energy and focus, not drain it. As you move through your day, stick to this new pattern. Instead of reaching for your phone to scroll through social media during breaks, maybe step outside, take a walk, or read a page or two of a good book. Seneca would often take these moments to write thoughts in his journal, reflecting on his behaviors and reactions to events, a practice that can help you stay aligned with your new goals. And as your day winds down, take some time to wind down with it. Maybe establish a new evening routine that involves less screen time and more time connecting with yourself or your loved ones. Before bed, reflect on your day, just like Marcus Aurelius did. He would ask himself questions like, what evil have I cured today? Or what failing have I resisted? Use these questions to audit your day, not to judge yourself harshly, but to observe and plan how you can be even better tomorrow. By revamping your daily routine like this, you're not just changing what you do, you're changing how you think. You're training yourself to live more deliberately, more stoically, with a clear focus on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot. Each day becomes a step toward becoming not just the person you want to be, but the person you are meant to be. So keep at it, each day, one day at a time, until these practices are not just something you do, but a part of who you are. Your body is the physical manifestation of your discipline. It reflects the choices you make every single day, whether you push yourself or let yourself slide. And here's a truth most people don't like to admit. The way you carry yourself, the way you move, the way you physically exist in the world, it all matters. Not just for aesthetics, but for who you are becoming. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that if you wanted to master your mind, you had to start by mastering your body. Seneca once wrote, "The body should be treated more rigorously that it may not be disobedient to the mind." In other words, control your body and your mind will follow. Most people think of physical transformation as just going to the gym or dieting, but it's so much bigger than that. It's about forging resilience, training yourself to endure discomfort, and pushing through resistance, both in workouts and in life. The Stoics deliberately put themselves in uncomfortable situations to train for hardship. They practiced voluntary discomfort, things like fasting, walking barefoot, or sleeping on the floor, not to suffer, but to prove to themselves that they could. Because once you understand that you can handle discomfort, you stop fearing it, and when you stop fearing discomfort, you become unstoppable. So today, you move, not just for the sake of looking better, but to become better. If you're not someone who exercises regularly, that changes now. And no, you don't need a gym membership or expensive equipment. You just need to start. Go for a run, do body weight exercises, lift something heavy, get your heart rate up, break a sweat, feel your body come alive. This isn't about punishment, it's about awakening something in you that's been dormant for too long. The feeling of effort, of pushing past your limits, that's where confidence is built. That's where you begin to reshape your identity. And let's be clear, this isn't about chasing perfection, it's about consistency. You don't need to train like a professional athlete, but you do need to train like someone who respects themselves. Someone who understands that discipline in the body creates discipline in the mind. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible." One workout won't change your life, but the habit of showing up every day will. Now let's talk about fuel. What you put into your body dictates your energy, your mood, your focus. The Stoics believed in moderation, in avoiding excess and indulgence that weakens the will. Epictetus warned against being ruled by cravings, saying, "No man is free who is not master of himself." So today, you eat with intention. No more mindless snacking. No more foods that leave you sluggish and foggy. You don't have to be extreme, just make better choices. More whole foods, more water, less of the junk that keeps you stuck. Every time you eat, ask yourself, is this helping me become stronger, sharper, more disciplined? If the answer is no, you already know what to do. Posture, movement, presence. It all shifts when you start treating your body like a tool instead of an afterthought. When you strengthen your body, you carry yourself differently. You stand taller, you move with purpose, and trust me, people notice. More importantly, you notice, because the stronger you become physically, the more unshakable you become mentally. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest weakness. It will either push you forward or hold you back. And the crazy thing, you get to decide which one it is. Most people go through life as prisoners of their own thoughts, trapped by invisible walls built from self-doubt, fear, and excuses. They tell themselves stories. I'm not good enough. I'm not lucky enough. I'm not capable enough. Until those stories become their reality. But here's the truth. Your mind is just a collection of patterns, beliefs, and habits. And just like any bad habit, negative thinking can be broken. That's exactly what today is about. Rewiring your mindset, tearing down every limiting belief and replacing it with something stronger. The Stoics were relentless when it came to controlling their thoughts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In other words, what happens to you, the real battle, isn't out there in the world. It's in your head. So today, you stop reacting like a puppet controlled by circumstances, and you start thinking like a warrior who owns every situation. The first step, awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts today. Notice how often doubt creeps in, how quickly you make excuses, how easily you let negativity take over. Every time you hear that little voice saying, "I can't," stop it in its tracks. Question it, challenge it. Ask yourself, who told me that? Where did that belief come from? Is it even true? Because most of the time it's not. It's just an old script you've been running on autopilot, a story you picked up from someone else, a fear disguised as logic. The Stoics called this examining impressions, testing your thoughts instead of blindly believing them. Now, let's get practical. Every time a limiting belief pops into your head today, replace it with its opposite. Instead of, "I don't know how to do this," say, "I'll figure it out." Instead of, "I'm not strong enough," say, "I'm becoming stronger every day." This isn't about fake positivity, it's about shifting your focus. The Stoics didn't sit around hoping for good outcomes. They trained their minds to be resilient no matter what happened. Seneca wrote, A man is as miserable as he thinks he is. If your thoughts create your experience, why not start thinking like someone who is unstoppable? And let's talk about fear. Fear is the single greatest killer of potential. It stops people from taking risks, from speaking up, from chasing the life they actually want. But here's the thing, fear is always worse in your mind than in reality. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They would visualize the worst-case scenario before it happened, preparing themselves mentally so that when challenges arose, they were ready. They didn't avoid fear, they stared it down and took its power away. So today, think about the things you've been avoiding because of fear. Maybe it's starting that project, having that difficult conversation, stepping out of your comfort zone. Whatever it is, picture the absolute worst-case scenario. Now ask yourself, could I survive that? Could I handle it? The answer is almost always yes. Once you realize that, fear loses its grip. Another thing that keeps people stuck: complaining. Complaining is mental poison. It shifts your focus from what you can control to what you can't. Marcus Aurelius had a rule: don't waste time blaming, whining, or wishing things were different. Instead, focus all your energy on what you can do. So today, catch yourself when you complain, whether it's out loud or just in your thoughts, and stop immediately. Ask yourself, what's one action I can take to fix this? If there's nothing you can do, then accept it and move on. No more wasted energy. No matter how strong, disciplined, or successful you become, if you neglect the people around you, you'll always feel like something is missing. Because here's the truth: we are built for connection. Even the most independent, self-sufficient person needs relationships that challenge them, support them, and make them better. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, constantly reminded himself that he was just one piece of a greater whole. He wrote, "We were born for cooperation, like feet, like hands, like eyelids, like the rows of the upper and lower teeth." In other words, trying to do life alone isn't strength, it's weakness. But let's be real, relationships aren't always easy. People are messy, unpredictable, and sometimes frustrating. And maybe you've convinced yourself that you're better off keeping to yourself, avoiding the hassle. But if you think about it, the greatest moments of your life, the ones that truly meant something, weren't about money, achievements, or status. They were about people. The late-night conversations that changed your perspective, the friend who showed up when you needed them most, the mentor who pushed you to think bigger. These moments weren't about what you had, they were about who you had. So today, it's time to strengthen your relationships, not just the ones that are easy, but the ones that truly matter. And that starts with a simple but often overlooked habit: being present. In our world of distractions where most people can't get through a conversation without checking their phone, the ability to give someone your full attention is rare, but it's powerful. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." That means every interaction, whether it's with a friend, a coworker, or even a stranger, is a chance to be intentional, to connect, to leave someone better than you found them. Start with the people closest to you. When was the last time you had a deep conversation with your parents, your siblings, your best friend? Not the quick, "how's it going?" but a real, meaningful talk. Call them, meet up with them, ask them questions, and actually listen to their answers. Because here's something most people don't realize. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Even the strongest, most put-together people have struggles they don't talk about. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, the simplest, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," can make more of a difference than you'll ever know. Now let's talk about the people you surround yourself with, because not all relationships are worth keeping. Some people lift you up, challenge you, and make you better. Others drain your energy, fill your head with negativity, and keep you stuck in old patterns. The Stoics were ruthless about this. Epictetus said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Take a hard look at the people in your life. Are they pushing you toward the person you want to become, or are they holding you back? If it's the latter, it's time to distance yourself. That doesn't mean you have to cut people off cold, but but it does mean being intentional about who gets your time and energy, because time is your most valuable resource, and who you spend it with determines the direction of your life. And finally, don't just strengthen relationships, build new ones. If you don't have people in your life who inspire and challenge you, go find them. Join a new community, reach out to someone you admire, put yourself in places where high-level people gather. The Stoics believed in seeking wisdom from others, learning from those who have walked the path before you. Seneca was a mentor to Nero. Epictetus was a teacher to many. No one grows in isolation. If you want to become the best version of yourself, you need to surround yourself with people who reflect that version. Most people drift through life without a plan. They wake up, go to work, pay their bills, scroll through their phones, and repeat year after year without ever asking themselves, where am I actually going? They let life happen to them instead of deciding where they want to go. But here's the thing, if you don't have a direction, you'll never get anywhere. The Stoics were big on this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's life is dyed by the color of his thoughts. What you focus on, what you plan for, and what you consistently work toward. That's what shapes your future. And if you're not clear on what that future looks like, you'll end up stuck in the same cycles, wondering why nothing ever changes." By now, you've spent the past 5 days tearing down old habits, sharpening your mind, and strengthening your body. But transformation isn't just about becoming better. It's about building a future that reflects that new version of you. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by planning, intentionally, strategically, and with absolute clarity. Seneca said, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." Think about that. If you don't have a clear goal, it doesn't matter how much effort you put in. You'll just keep drifting. So today, we fix that. It's time to take control of your future and design it with purpose. And don't say, "I don't know what I want." You do. You just haven't given yourself the time or permission to be honest about it. So start with this question. If everything in my life aligned perfectly in the next 5 years, what would it look like? Not just in a vague, "I want to be successful" kind of way. Be specific. Where are you living? What kind of work are you doing? What does your day look like? Who is around you? How do you feel waking up in the morning? The clearer you are, the easier it is to move toward that vision. Now, take that 5-year vision and break it down. What needs to happen in the next year to get closer to that? What needs to happen in the next 6 months, the next month, the next week? Most people get stuck because they only dream about the future. They don't create a system for actually getting there. But planning is useless without execution. Marcus Aurelius had a rule: act according to reason, not impulse. That means setting a strategy and following through with discipline. Not just when it's convenient, but every single day. And here's a key point: your plan needs to be flexible. The Stoics understood that no matter how much you prepare, life is unpredictable. You'll face setbacks. Unexpected challenges will come up. But that's not a reason to stop. It's a reason to adapt. Epictetus said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him." So when things don't go as planned, adjust, find another way, keep moving forward. The people who succeed aren't the ones with the perfect plan. They're the ones who stay committed no matter what. The Stoics believed deeply in the power of reflection. Every night before he slept, Seneca would review his day, asking himself, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What lessons did I learn? It was about self-judgment. It was about self-mastery, about making sure that each day wasn't wasted but instead used as a building block for something greater. And that's exactly what today is about. Looking back, not with guilt or regret, but with clarity and purpose. So ask yourself, what changed this week? Look at your habits. How do you feel compared to a week ago? Look at your mindset. Are you thinking differently? Look at your confidence. Are you walking with more purpose? If you really committed to this process, the answer should be obvious. But there's something else to reflect on too, the resistance. Because let's be honest, this wasn't easy. There were moments when you wanted to quit, when your old habits tried to pull you back, when the voice of doubt crept in, whispering that this was pointless, that you'd never really change. That voice isn't gone, and it probably never will be. But the difference now, you don't listen to it anymore. Epictetus said, progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily. And that's the key. This week wasn't a magic trick. It wasn't about a quick fix or instant results. It was about momentum, about proving to yourself that change is possible when you stop waiting and start moving. But momentum only lasts if you keep it going. So now, the real question is, what happens next? Because let's be clear, if you don't actively continue this work, your old self will creep back in. You'll slip into familiar patterns, and before you know it, a week will pass, then a month, then a year, and you'll wake up wondering how you ended up exactly where you started. That's what happens to most people. They get a taste of change, but they don't lock it in. They don't create systems to sustain it. And that's why today isn't just about reflecting, it's about resetting, solidifying these new habits so they become part of you, not just something you tried once. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. You already know what needs to be done. You already are the person you want to be. You just have to keep showing up as them. That means continuing the habits you built this week, continuing to push yourself, continuing to eliminate distractions, challenge your mind, strengthen your body, and surround yourself with people who elevate you. You've proven that change isn't something that happens to you, it's something you create. The habits you build, the choices you make, the way you carry yourself, all of it shapes the person you're becoming. And now the only question left is, will you keep going? Most people will wait. They'll tell themselves someday, but not you. You know better, you've already started. So don't stop now. Keep pushing, keep refining, keep evolving. Every one of us at some point feels like life is spinning out of control. Whether it's a lost job, a broken relationship, or just the chaotic pace of daily routines, these moments can leave us feeling helpless and overwhelmed. But what if I told you there's a way to not just survive these challenges, but to thrive amidst them? Today, we're going to unpack 10 powerful strategies inspired by Stoic philosophy, an ancient yet timeless wisdom that teaches us how to strengthen our mental fortitude. We'll explore how figures like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus turned their philosophical insights into practical tools for overcoming adversity and maintaining inner peace. By the end of this video, you'll have mastered the art of mental strength, ready to face life's storms with composure and resilience. So stay tuned as we delve into these transformative techniques that promise to bolster your mental defenses and enhance your life's quality. If you appreciate what we're doing here and want to keep learning with us, hitting the subscribe button is a simple, free way to show your support. And remember, don't skip any part of this video. Every technique we discuss could be the key to your next personal breakthrough. Let's dive in and discover how to apply these age-old Stoic principles to our modern-day challenges. When life knocks you down, it's tempting to view it as a personal defeat. But here's a Stoic twist. Those setbacks, they're actually your secret weapons. Think about the last time you faced something truly challenging. Maybe you didn't get that promotion you were sure was yours, or perhaps a relationship didn't work out the way you hoped. Instead of viewing these as mere failures, Stoicism invites us to see them as pivotal moments of learning and growth. Aristotle once mused that the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. This rings especially true when we face challenges. Each difficult situation is a classroom, and the lessons we learn are about our resilience, our adaptability, and our true desires. For example, not getting that promotion might reveal an opportunity to enhance certain skills, or even reconsider our career path to find something that aligns better with our passions and capabilities. A relationship ending might be tough, but it also opens the door to self-discovery and understanding what we truly value in partnerships. This Stoic practice isn't just about looking on the bright side. It's about actively using every hurdle as a step to climb higher. It's about taking control of the narrative of our lives. By embracing challenges as opportunities, we're not just passively getting through life, we're actively shaping it. Each challenge molds us, teaches us, and prepares us for future obstacles, turning what could be stumbling blocks into stepping stones. This mindset doesn't just make us mentally stronger, it makes us architects of our own destiny, building a robust foundation of character and resilience. Imagine for a moment that your abilities are like clay in a potter's hands, moldable, adaptable, and capable of forming into whatever shape we desire. This is the essence of a growth mindset, a concept that isn't just modern psychology, but deeply rooted in ancient wisdom. The Stoics believed that our character could be shaped by our thoughts and actions, reinforcing the idea that personal growth is within our control. Adopting a growth mindset means seeing yourself as a work in progress. It's about embracing the belief that with effort, perseverance, and resilience, improvement is always within reach. Consider the challenges you face not as indicators of your inabilities, but as opportunities to evolve. Every time you push through a tough project or step out of your comfort zone, you're not just accomplishing a task, you're stretching and growing your capabilities. This mindset shift can be incredibly liberating. It removes the shackles of perceived limitations and opens up a world of possibilities. Where once you might have thought, I can't do this, with a growth mindset, you begin to think, I can't do this yet. It's a small word, but that yet is powerful. It's full of potential and future success. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." This speaks directly to the heart of a growth mindset. By daring to try, to fail, and to try again, we make our tasks less daunting. We learn that failure isn't the opposite of success, but a vital part of achieving it. Each failure teaches us something new about how to approach problems, hone our skills, and become better than we were yesterday. You know, there's a common misconception that self-discipline is about punishing yourself, about gritting your teeth and just grinding through life. But let's reframe that idea, because what it really revolves around is the concept of self-mastery. A key component in Stoic philosophy. It's about aligning your actions with your values and goals, not as a form of punishment, but as a path to genuine freedom. When you practice self-discipline, you're essentially saying, I am in control of my actions, and I choose to act in ways that lead me closer to my ideal self. Self-discipline is the art of choosing long-term satisfaction over short-term pleasure, which is a core Stoic practice. Think about Marcus Aurelius and his meditations. He wasn't just ruling an empire, he was mastering himself. This mastery over his desires and impulses allowed him to lead a life that was not only meaningful, but also aligned with his principles. Now, imagine applying that kind of discipline to your own life. Say you want to get healthier. The disciplined choice isn't just about denying yourself that extra slice of cake. It's about choosing to respect your body's needs and your health goals over fleeting cravings. Building this kind of discipline can start small. It might be as simple as getting up with your first alarm in the morning. Each time you resist the temptation to hit snooze, you strengthen your willpower. It's like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. And as this strength builds, so does your ability to tackle larger challenges. Suddenly, tasks that once felt daunting or out of reach seem manageable because you've trained yourself to persevere. So when we talk about self-discipline in the Stoic sense, we're really talking about freedom. It's the freedom to choose your actions based on your rational decisions rather than whims or fleeting emotions. This isn't about restricting your life. It's about enhancing it, ensuring that every choice you make is a brick in the foundation of the life you want to build. It's easy to fall into the blame game when things go wrong, pointing fingers at others or circumstances, but here's where Stoic philosophy offers a powerful shift in perspective. Stoics like Epictetus believed that our responses to events are within our control, even when the events themselves are not. This idea is transformative because it means that you are the architect of your own experience, not merely a victim of circumstances. Taking responsibility means recognizing that your reactions, your emotions, and your actions are up to you. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, how did I contribute to this situation, and what can I do differently next time? This isn't about self-blame or guilt. It's about empowerment and growth. For instance, if a project at work doesn't go as planned, instead of blaming the team, the resources, or the timing, Examine your own role. Could you have communicated more clearly? Was there a misstep in your planning? Acknowledging these things doesn't diminish your capabilities. It enhances them by paving the way for better strategies and solutions in the future. By embracing this level of accountability, you cultivate a sense of integrity and honesty with yourself that is deeply grounding. It leads to a life where you feel in control of your destiny, rather than tossed about by the winds of fate. And here's the best part. When you start taking responsibility for your actions, you also start to recognize your power to change your life. You're no longer a passive participant, but an active creator in your world. This approach fosters a deeper resilience, as you're not constantly derailed by unexpected outcomes. Instead, you learn from them, adjust, and move forward. It's about turning life's lessons into stepping stones toward a wiser, more capable you. Life's emotional roller coaster can really test our mettle, can't it? One minute you're up, the next you're down, and sometimes it feels like you're just stuck in a loop. But here's something Stoic philosophy teaches us. Resilience isn't about avoiding these ups and downs, it's about navigating them with grace. Stoics like Seneca believed that developing emotional resilience was key to maintaining inner peace, no matter the external chaos. Building emotional resilience starts with acceptance. It's about acknowledging that hardships, setbacks, and negative emotions are part of life. Think about it. Getting upset about feeling upset only adds another layer of distress. Instead, when challenges arise, recognize them as opportunities to practice maintaining your composure. For example, if you get passed over for a promotion, allow yourself to feel disappointed, but don't let that disappointment derail your entire sense of self-worth. This is what the Stoics meant when they talked about using obstacles as fuel. Every emotional challenge is another chance to strengthen your resilience. Moreover, cultivating this resilience involves more than just dealing with disappointments. It's also about embracing a broader perspective. Consider the idea that every hardship might be serving a greater purpose in your personal growth. This shift in viewpoint can transform the emotional weight of an experience, turning feelings of victimhood into lessons of empowerment. But how do we practically build this resilience? Start small. Practice mindfulness to stay present during emotional disturbances. Engage in reflective journaling to process feelings constructively, or simply talk things out with someone whose perspective you trust. Over time, these practices help you develop a buffer against the rough patches, ensuring you're not so easily knocked off balance. Embracing this aspect of Stoic wisdom doesn't mean you won't feel pain or stress. Rather, it means you'll be better equipped to handle it. Emotional resilience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And as you build this strength, you'll find that not only can you handle life's challenges better, but you're also more capable of enjoying life's joys fully and without reservation. Sometimes the difference between a good day and a tough one is simply our mindset. As we started, it might sound a bit out there, but hear me out. The power of your thoughts can truly shape your reality. This is where the practice of positive affirmations comes into play, a technique that's not only backed by modern psychology, but also echoes the Stoic focus on controlling what's within our power, our thoughts and reactions. Positive affirmations are like little anchors of self-belief that we plant firmly in our minds. They help combat the often automatic negative thoughts that can cloud our days and influence our actions negatively. For instance, instead of waking up with the dread of what could go wrong, imagine starting your day by affirming, "I have the strength to handle whatever comes my way," or "I am capable and prepared for my tasks." These aren't just feel-good quotes, they're declarations that set the tone for how you interact with the world around you. The Stoics weren't about empty optimism, but they valued the importance of a well-ordered mind and maintaining a positive outlook. They believed that our emotions and behaviors are the result of our judgments and thoughts, which means by shaping those thoughts, we can influence our emotional state and actions significantly. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, would remind himself every morning of the challenges he would face and affirm his ability to deal with them honorably and with patience. Integrating positive affirmations into your daily routine can start very simply. You might post sticky notes on your bathroom mirror with affirmations written on them, or set reminders on your phone to pause for a moment and repeat a few empowering words to yourself throughout the day. Over time, these affirmations help to overwrite those deep-seated beliefs that we are not enough, enabling us to approach life's challenges with more confidence and less anxiety. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when we think about all the things in life we can't control, the news, the weather, or other people's actions. But here's a refreshing thought from the Stoic playbook. Why not shift our focus to what we can influence? Stoicism teaches us the value of distinguishing between what is in our power and what isn't, and then pouring our energy into the former. This philosophy isn't about resignation, it's about empowerment. For instance, we can't control whether we'll face traffic on our commute, but we can control leaving early enough to feel relaxed on the road, or choosing an audiobook that makes the time pass more enjoyably. This approach can be applied to bigger aspects of life too. We might not have the power to change a difficult co-worker's behavior, but we can control our reactions to them, choosing to respond with patience and understanding rather than frustration. By focusing on our own actions, decisions, and attitudes, we harness the power of our agency. This doesn't just reduce stress, it builds confidence. Every time you choose to focus on what you can control, you're taking responsibility for your own peace of mind and well-being. It's a proactive stance. You're not just being tossed by the waves of fate, you're steering your own ship. And the more we practice this, the more natural it becomes. Start with small things, your posture, your breathing, or the way you allocate your time each morning. As these small efforts accumulate, they lead to significant changes in how resilient and responsive we feel. We begin to see that, though we can't control the world, we can control our place within it, making thoughtful choices that align with our values and goals. Ever noticed how a coffee catch-up with a cheerful friend can lift your spirits for the entire day? It's like their optimism is contagious, right? That's the power of surrounding yourself with positive people. It not only boosts your mood, but can fundamentally shift your outlook on life. Stoic philosophy, with its emphasis on inner tranquility and rational thinking, also recognizes the influence our social circles have on our personal growth and mindset. The Stoics were keen on the idea that to live a virtuous and content life, one must engage with those who embody the qualities we aspire to. If you spend time with individuals who are committed to personal growth, kindness, and positivity, you're more likely to cultivate these traits in yourself. Think about it. When you're around someone who faces challenges with a calm and optimistic outlook, their approach can inspire you to handle your own difficulties more gracefully. This doesn't mean you should shun friends who are going through tough times. Rather, it's about balancing empathy with the need to protect your own mental health. Being there for a friend in need is important, but so is immersing yourself in a community that uplifts and motivates you. Positive people aren't just happy all the time. They're realistic, resilient, and proactive. They're the ones who see a setback as a setup for a comeback, and their resilience can motivate you to adopt a similar attitude. To integrate this into your life, start by evaluating your current relationships. Which interactions leave you feeling energized? Which ones drain you? Gradually, spend more time with the energizers, and consider setting boundaries with those who drain you. Also, seek out new connections that align with your aspirations. Join clubs, groups, or online communities that share your interests or values. As you cultivate a supportive network, you'll find that their positive influences make it easier to maintain your own stoic balance and focus, enhancing your overall well-being and life satisfaction. By choosing your social circle wisely, you're not just choosing friends, you're choosing your future mindset and emotional environment. So, take a page from the Stoics. Let your friendships be your fortress, supporting and strengthening you as you navigate life's ups and downs. Taking a moment for yourself in today's non-stop world can sometimes feel like a luxury you can't afford, right? But here's the thing. Self-care isn't a luxury at all. It's essential, especially if we want to live the balanced, contented life that Stoicism teaches us about. Stoic philosophy isn't just about endurance, it's about flourishing in every aspect of life, and that includes taking good care of our body and mind. Self-care is often pictured as long bubble baths or days at the spa, but in Stoic terms, it's more about ensuring you're in the best shape to face whatever life throws your way. It's about creating a routine that includes activities that recharge your batteries and reset your spirit, not just once in a blue moon, but as a regular part of your life. This could be as simple as making sure you get enough sleep, eating nourishing foods, or setting aside time each day for meditation or reflection. Think of it this way. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers and a Roman emperor, despite his immense responsibilities, found time to write meditations that focused on his own self-improvement and philosophical reflection. If someone as busy as he was made time for self-care, we can too. And self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. By taking care of ourselves, we are better equipped to be there for others and to face our responsibilities with a clear, focused mind. Incorporating self-care into your routine can start with small steps. Begin by identifying what truly replenishes you. Is it a quiet walk in the park, a rigorous workout, or perhaps just some quiet time with a book? Once you know what works for you, make it a non-negotiable part of your day or week. Schedule it like you would any important appointment, and guard that time against the demands of daily life. By consistently practicing self-care, you're not just looking after your physical health, but you're also nurturing your mental resilience. You're giving yourself a break from the stresses of daily life, which can boost your ability to think clearly and act wisely. Remember, a well-maintained tool performs best, and you are the most important tool in your life. Isn't it fascinating how each day offers us new lessons? No matter how old or experienced we might be, that's something the Stoics deeply understood and cherished. The endless journey of learning. They believed that wisdom wasn't just about accumulating knowledge, but about continuously adapting and applying that knowledge to improve oneself and cope better with life. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." It's a reminder that personal growth doesn't have a finish line. It's a lifelong pursuit. In the modern world, where change is the only constant, embracing a philosophy of never-ending learning is more relevant than ever. Think about all the successful people you know or have read about. What do they have in common? A relentless curiosity and a commitment to continuous learning. They read books, they experiment, they seek new experiences, and they aren't afraid to ask questions and challenge their own assumptions. But here's the best part. You don't need to be a great philosopher or a famous entrepreneur to benefit from this approach. All it takes is a commitment to remain open to new ideas and experiences, whether it's picking up a new hobby, learning a new skill, or simply reading a book outside of your usual genre. Every new thing you learn not only adds to your knowledge, but also enhances your understanding of the world. So how do you make continuous learning a part of your life? Start by setting achievable goals, like reading one book a month or completing an online course every quarter. Keep your mind active by engaging in discussions, attending workshops, or even teaching others what you know. Teaching is a fantastic way to deepen your understanding of a subject because it challenges you to present it clearly and thoughtfully. And there you have it. 10 powerful steps to not just cope with life's ups and downs, but to thrive through them. In this era of constant noise, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Every moment is bombarded with sounds and visuals, phones buzzing, screens flashing, the world demanding our attention. This relentless stimulation can make us feel like we're losing ourselves in a sea of endless chatter and digital noise. But what if I told you that the secret to gaining back control lies not in doing more, but in embracing less? The ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, mastered this art thousands of years ago. They taught us that real strength doesn't come from reacting to every stimulus, but from choosing what to focus on and when to remain silent. You have power over your mind, not outside events, Marcus Aurelius wrote, reminding us that serenity begins with internal quiet. Today, we're diving deep into why cutting back on mental clutter and unnecessary talk can transform your life. We'll explore 7 powerful benefits of thinking less, speaking less, and focusing more. These are not just life hacks, but profound changes that can lead to greater tranquility, deeper wisdom, and lasting success. And remember, if you appreciate what we're doing here, A simple free favor I'll ask is for you to hit that subscribe button. Don't skip any part of this video. Stick with me, and let's uncover how embracing the Stoic way can help you reclaim your peace of mind and power over your life. Benefit 1. Reduce stress and anxiety. Ever felt like your brain is just a whirlwind of worries and what-ifs? It's exhausting, right? But here's a thought from the Stoic playbook. Maybe the key to less stress isn't more thinking. It's less. The Stoics, like Epictetus, taught us that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of these events. By focusing less on the noise and more on what we can control, we start to experience a real shift in our stress levels. When we actively decide to cut down on our mental clutter, something amazing happens. Our mind gets a break. Think about it. If your mind was a browser with dozens of tabs open, each one representing a worry or a thought, wouldn't closing some of them help it run better? That's essentially what we're doing when we choose to think less about things we can't control. We're closing the tabs. We're choosing not to engage with every fleeting thought that comes our way. And speaking of thinking less, it's about quality over. It's not about suppressing thoughts, but guiding them. It's like gardening. You keep the plants you want and pull out the weeds. If a thought doesn't serve you or is out of your control, why let it take up space? When we simplify our thought processes and focus only on actionable and positive thoughts, the weight on our shoulders lightens. This approach is rooted deeply in Stoicism, which emphasizes resilience and emotional control through rational thinking. By practicing these principles, you can train your mind to remain calm and collected in situations where you normally feel stressed or anxious. It's about responding to life's challenges with a level head and a clear mind, not with panic or despair. This doesn't just reduce stress, it transforms how we perceive challenges, turning them from insurmountable mountains into manageable hurdles. Benefit 2. Increase calmness and serenity. It's fascinating when you think about it. The moments when we're truly at peace are often the ones that are the quietest. This is something the Stoics understood deeply. They championed the idea that serenity comes from within, not from the chaos of the outside world. When we choose to engage less with the turmoil around us and focus more on our inner calm, the world doesn't seem as loud or as frantic. Calmness and serenity aren't just pleasant states of mind, they're powerful tools. By speaking less and listening more, we create space for peace to grow. It's like when you're on a bustling city street and suddenly step into a quiet library. Suddenly the world shifts, the pace changes, your breath deepens. This is the effect of embracing silence in our daily lives. When we stop feeling the need to fill every silence with words, we start to appreciate the richness of quiet. Stoicism teaches us that by controlling our reactions, we can maintain an inner calm regardless of external circumstances. Imagine being in a stressful situation. Say, a work deadline looms and the pressure mounts. Instead of getting caught up in a frenzy of stress and last-minute hustle, you take a step back. You breathe. You prioritize your tasks. You focus on one thing at a time. This is the Stoic method in action. Clearing the mind, simplifying the task, and approaching it with a calm focus. The benefits of this approach are immense. Not only does it allow us to handle stress more effectively, but it also enhances our overall well-being. When we're calm, we're better thinkers, listeners, and problem solvers. We're more present in our relationships, and we're better able to enjoy life's pleasures. Being serene doesn't mean being passive. It means being actively engaged in the pursuit of peace. By incorporating Stoic practices into our routine, such as meditation, reflection, and mindful breathing, we cultivate a tranquil mind. These practices help us filter out the noise and focus on what truly matters. They teach us to respond, not react. The more we practice, the more natural it becomes to remain undisturbed by the chaos of everyday life, and the deeper our well of serenity grows. On the matter of well of serenity, this doesn't just benefit us individually, it radiates outward, influencing our environment and the people around us in positive ways. Benefit 3. Enhance focus and productivity. Have you ever noticed how much more you get done when you're truly dialed into what you're doing? That sharp, crystal-clear focus that makes you feel like you can accomplish anything is not just a random occurrence. It's a state of mind that you can cultivate deliberately, especially if you take a leaf out of the Stoic playbook. The Stoics were big on focusing only on what's essential, cutting through the noise to concentrate on what truly matters. In our hyper-connected world, distractions are not just common, they're built into our everyday life. Phones ping, emails arrive incessantly, and social media feeds update constantly. But imagine if you could turn down that noise. Imagine organizing your day so that you could focus fully on each task before moving on to the next. This is the essence of Stoic focus, giving your whole attention to one thing at a time and doing it excellently. This kind of focus naturally leads to increased productivity. When you're not splitting your attention across multiple tasks, you're not just working harder, you're working smarter. You begin to notice details you might miss when multitasking. You solve problems more efficiently and come up with better solutions because your mind isn't flitting from one thing to another. The Stoics teach us that by eliminating unnecessary thoughts and actions, we free up our mental resources for important tasks. This doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities, but rather prioritizing them in a way that allows you to deal with them one at a time, giving each your full energy. For instance, when tackling a project, you might break it down into manageable parts and set clear goals for each session. This methodical approach reduces overwhelm and makes large tasks feel more doable. Furthermore, practicing Stoicism helps us develop the resilience to resist distractions. By fostering inner discipline, we train ourselves to stay on task even when temptations arise. We become more aware of our impulses, to check our phone, to browse the web, and we learn to pause, recognize the distraction for what it is, and return to our task with renewed focus. Benefit 4. Boost self-control. Self-control is one of those superpowers that seems almost mythical, isn't it? It's like every time we manage to say no to that extra slice of cake, or yes to an early morning workout, we're tapping into something extraordinary. But what if I told you that self-control isn't just about resisting temptation? It's about much more. According to Stoic philosophy, it's about governing our reactions to the world around us in a way that aligns with our deepest values. Now, the Stoics were masters of self-discipline. They believed that the path to happiness was paved with virtue, and that self-control was a critical part of that. For them, it wasn't about denying themselves the joys of life, but choosing not to be dominated by passions that could lead to irrational decisions and ultimately unhappiness. This is why they practiced moderation in all things, from their emotions to their actions. In today's context, boosting self-control can mean the difference between getting swayed by every little distraction that comes your way, or staying steadfast on your path to personal and professional fulfillment. Think about how often we're pulled away from important tasks by less important but immediately gratifying distractions. Every time you choose to focus on your work instead of checking your phone, you're exercising self-control. This kind of discipline directly impacts our productivity and our ability to achieve our goals. When you strengthen your self-control, you're not just improving your ability to work without interruption, you're also enhancing your ability to think critically and make decisions that are not influenced by fleeting emotions. This is essential because emotions can be powerful drivers of action, but when left unchecked, they can lead us astray. Stoicism offers practical steps for boosting self-control. For example, practicing mindfulness can help us become more aware of our impulses, allowing us to respond rather than react by taking a moment to pause. When an impulse strikes, we give ourselves the space to choose a response that aligns with our goals and values. This might look like taking a few deep breaths when feeling overwhelmed, or stepping back to assess whether our next action will help or hinder our progress. Enhancing self-control is about cultivating a deeper sense of peace and satisfaction. As we become more adept at controlling our impulses and managing our responses, we find that we're not only more productive but also more content. We're less at the mercy of the ups and downs of our emotions, and more in tune with a stable, balanced way of living. Benefit 5. Communicate more effectively. Communication is like the glue that holds our social fabric together. isn't it? Whether it's chatting with a friend, discussing a project at work, or even negotiating a deal, how we express ourselves plays a pivotal role in the outcome. Now, Stoicism might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think about communication skills, but it's incredibly relevant. The Stoics were big on the idea that it's not just what you say, but how you say it that matters. They believed in the power of being measured and thoughtful with words, which is essential for clear and impactful communication. So, how does embracing a Stoic approach help us communicate more effectively? First off, it teaches us the value of listening. Seneca, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we speak." This is golden advice in any conversation. Active listening helps us to really understand the other person's perspective, not just to wait for our turn to speak. It shows respect and allows for more constructive dialogues. When you truly listen, you respond more thoughtfully, which naturally enhances the quality of your interaction. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to focus on clarity and brevity in our speech. The Stoics were not fans of rambling or speaking without purpose. They prized the ability to speak concisely and clearly, cutting through the noise and delivering messages in a way that could be easily understood. This doesn't mean being blunt or curt. Rather, it's about being considerate of the listener's time and attention. By choosing our words carefully and ensuring they truly convey what we mean, we reduce misunderstandings and make our communication more effective. There's also the Stoic belief in staying calm under pressure, which is a superpower in difficult conversations. Imagine you're in a heated discussion. The Stoic approach would be to maintain your composure and not let emotions get the best of you. This isn't about suppressing feelings, but about managing them constructively. By staying calm, you keep the conversation productive and open the door to resolutions rather than conflicts. It's about responding with reason rather than reacting with emotion. Incorporating these Stoic principles into your daily communication doesn't just improve how you talk or listen. It transforms your interactions into more meaningful and fulfilling exchanges. Whether it's at home, with friends, or in the workplace, effective communication fosters better relationships, smoother cooperation, and a deeper understanding of others. It's about making every word count and every interaction matter. Benefit 6. Build respect from others. Respect is one of those invaluable currencies in life that can't be bought but must be earned, often through the subtle art of how we carry ourselves and interact with others. Interestingly, Stoicism offers a powerful toolkit for earning this respect naturally. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius believed that respect comes from personal integrity and the ability to maintain composure, particularly in trying circumstances. Their teachings suggest that by cultivating a calm demeanor and thoughtful behavior, we naturally command respect from those around us. Imagine walking into a room where tensions are high, people are anxious, perhaps voices are raised. Now, picture yourself responding not with agitation, but with a composed and calm demeanor. This kind of response doesn't just diffuse tension, it also draws people's attention. It makes them think, there's someone who's in control. When you react with poise rather than panic, you demonstrate leadership qualities that naturally make people respect and trust your judgment. Moreover, Stoicism teaches the importance of consistency in our actions and words. Consistency is key to building trust, and trust is foundational to respect. When people know what to expect from you and see that you act according to your principles regardless of the situation, they begin to hold you in higher regard. It's about showing, not just telling. If you consistently apply Stoic principles, such as fairness, patience, and self-control, people are more likely to respect you because they see these virtues in action. Then there's the aspect of speaking wisely. Stoics placed great emphasis on thinking before speaking, ensuring that when words are used, they are meaningful and considered. In a world where everyone seems to be shouting to be heard, choosing your words carefully can actually make you stand out. When you do speak, if your words consistently reflect wisdom and insight, people are more inclined to listen and value your input. This approach not only builds respect, but also establishes you as a thoughtful leader or colleague. Lastly, respect through Stoicism is also about showing respect to others. It's a reciprocal dynamic. By demonstrating respect for others' ideas, feelings, and contributions, you foster a respectful environment. This mutual respect not only enhances personal relationships, but also creates a more positive and productive community, be it in a professional setting or personal life. Benefit 7. Live a more meaningful and simpler life. Isn't it curious how sometimes when you strip away the excess, what you're left with feels so much richer? Stoicism teaches us this very principle, that a simpler life isn't about having less, but about making room for more of what truly enriches us. It's about decluttering not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. This philosophy encourages us to focus on our core values and priorities, trimming away the distractions that don't serve us. The Stoics, like Epictetus, believed that freedom comes from within, from our ability to control our responses to the world around us, rather than being controlled by it. By reducing our desires to the essentials and focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our responses, we can lead lives of greater significance and tranquility. Imagine living each day with a clear sense of purpose, where your energies are spent on actions that are directly aligned with your deep-seated values. This isn't just liberating, it's deeply satisfying. In practical terms, adopting a simpler, more meaningful lifestyle means making conscious choices about where to allocate your time and energy. It involves asking yourself whether each activity or commitment is bringing you closer to your ideal life or if it's merely filling time. This could mean opting to spend more time with family instead of attending yet another networking event, or choosing to read a book that enlightens you instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media. Moreover, living simply helps us cultivate gratitude for what we have. Stoicism doesn't teach us to forsake joy or pleasure. Rather, it teaches us to find joy in the pleasure that simplicity brings. There is profound joy in appreciating the ordinary moments, a quiet morning with a cup of coffee, the laughter of a loved one, the peace of a walk in nature. When we stop chasing after more things, more achievements, more engagements, we start experiencing more of life's genuine moments. This simplicity also extends to our interactions and how we handle challenges. Stoicism equips us to face life's complexities with a calm and steady hand. By simplifying our internal world, we are better able to manage the external chaos. Challenges become less daunting because our perspective has shifted. We focus on what is within our power to change, and we let go of the rest. Remember, the journey to embracing less isn't about achieving perfection overnight. It's a gradual process of adjustment and understanding, a path that you pave as you learn what less means to you. It's about finding your own balance between action and contemplation, speaking and silence, abundance and simplicity. Each step on this path can lead to profound changes in how you view and interact with the world. Change feels like one of those big, intimidating mountains to climb. We're all looking for the shortcut, the quick fix that will change everything in an instant. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that transformation has to happen overnight, that we need to take dramatic leaps or make drastic changes in order to see real progress. I get it. I've been there. You set a goal and at first the excitement is there, the motivation feels like a fire, ready to burn through anything in its way. But after a few days that fire dims and suddenly the whole thing feels too big, too overwhelming, so you stop. But what if I told you that the key to real, lasting change isn't in the grand gestures but in the tiny, consistent steps? What if the transformation you're looking for was never meant to be a giant leap but a series of small steps, taken day by day, that build on each other? That's the power of incremental change. It's easy to dismiss small actions as meaningless or too insignificant to make a difference, but it's these very actions that over time compound and create real progress. The first step starts with realizing that real change doesn't happen overnight. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. 7 days might seem like a small amount of time, but it's enough to create the foundation for something greater. In this video, you'll see how simple daily actions, things you can start today, can begin shaping your future self. By the end of the week, you'll begin to notice the shift in your mindset, your energy, and your clarity. Are you ready to see what's possible in just 7 days? Before we begin, please subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing videos like this. Let's get started. Micro-learning, making informal learning a daily routine. Staying sharp in today's world feels like a constant battle. We're bombarded by distractions at every turn, social media notifications, the never-ending stream of news, the constant pull of entertainment. It's hard to keep up with everything, let alone take the time to focus on something that truly expands our knowledge. Our attention spans are shorter, our minds pulled in a million directions. And yet, we all know the value of learning, of growing, evolving, and staying curious. But how? How do we make room for that in a world that seems to move faster than we can keep up? That's where the idea of micro-learning comes in. Micro-learning isn't about diving into textbooks or dedicating hours of your day to study. It's about small, bite-sized chunks of knowledge that you can consume daily in the midst of your busy life. We all know that we can't always sit down for an hour-long lecture or spend an entire afternoon reading a book. But what if, instead, you dedicated just 5 to 10 minutes every day to learning something new? You could watch a short video on YouTube about a topic that interests you, listen to a podcast during your morning commute, or read an article while you wait for your coffee. The key is to seek out small, digestible pieces of information that spark your curiosity. This habit doesn't require a huge commitment. It's about building a routine that keeps your mind engaged and open to new ideas. Pick something that piques your interest, whether it's learning about a historical event, discovering new productivity techniques, or exploring a completely new skill. The beauty of micro-learning is its flexibility. You can make it fit into your day, no matter how busy you are. Maybe you listen to a podcast on your lunch break, or watch a quick YouTube video while you unwind in the evening. It doesn't matter when or how long as you make it a regular part of your routine. What does this do for you? Well, aside from keeping your mind sharp, it expands your worldview. It helps you see things from new perspectives, fueling your curiosity and sparking ideas you never would have had otherwise. In a world that often feels overwhelming, microlearning is a powerful tool to stay adaptable and engaged. It's the perfect antidote to mental fatigue because it doesn't require long hours of focus. It's just a few minutes a day, but those minutes add up, building a steady rhythm of growth. Think about it. Over a week, a month, or even a year, those small pieces of knowledge start to accumulate. Suddenly, you're more well-read, more knowledgeable, and more confident in your ability to adapt to change. Even when life feels like it's moving at full speed, micro-learning gives you a chance to catch your breath and keep growing, one small step at a time. And that's the magic of it. When you embrace this habit, you're not just learning facts, you're building a mindset of curiosity and resilience. In a world that constantly demands more of us, micro-learning helps us stay present and evolve without feeling overwhelmed. So, what can you learn today? What's something you've always wanted to explore but never had the time for? Take a few minutes today to dive into that and see how it feels. You'll be surprised by how much it enriches your life and sharpens your mind, one small piece at a time. The key is consistency, and in just 7 days, you'll find that those small steps are already starting to lay the foundation for a more curious, adaptable, and well-informed version of yourself. Embrace the warrior mentality. There's a strange, almost magnetic pull toward comfort, isn't there? We all crave ease, whether it's lounging on the couch after a long day, choosing the path of least resistance, or avoiding those things that make us uncomfortable. And yet, it's when we face discomfort that growth begins. But let's be honest, discomfort feels hard. Whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, it's easy to back away when we feel weak or overwhelmed. Our minds start to convince us that we're not ready, that we're not strong enough. We tell ourselves, I'll do it tomorrow, and in that moment we choose comfort over growth. But what if there was another way? Let's take a look at the warrior mentality. Imagine waking up each day with the mindset of someone who thrives in discomfort. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. The warrior doesn't run from difficulty. They face it head on, knowing that every obstacle is an opportunity to grow stronger. The warrior trains their mind to embrace the struggle because they understand that only by pushing beyond their limits can they discover their true potential. This is the mentality that separates those who stay stagnant from those who constantly evolve. It's not about having the best circumstances, it's about having the strength to thrive no matter what the circumstances are. And you can cultivate this strength, one step at a time. For the next 7 days, challenge yourself to take on something difficult, something that makes you uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be the hardest thing you've ever done. The key is to push yourself just beyond your current limits. Maybe you wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual, forcing yourself to start the day with focus and purpose. Perhaps it's committing to a workout that pushes your physical boundaries, or tackling a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. It could even be choosing to sit with your emotions, facing them head-on instead of numbing or running from them. Whatever it is, make it deliberate. Make it a small, actionable step toward embracing discomfort every single day. This practice isn't about being reckless or forcing yourself to endure unnecessary pain. It's about understanding that true growth lies in that space just beyond your comfort zone. Every time you choose to face discomfort, you're building resilience, muscle for the mind and body. The warrior knows that discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the forge where strength is made. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, knew this well. He believed that endurance, the ability to withstand difficulty, was a cornerstone of growth. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This isn't just a quote, it's a philosophy that teaches us to embrace what challenges us, because it's these very challenges that shape our character. So, as you move through this week, remember that every obstacle is a chance to train your mind, harden your spirit, and grow stronger. The discomfort you face is not a signal to stop. It's a sign that you're on the right path. Each time you lean into that discomfort, you're building the resilience that will carry you through anything life throws your way. At the end of the week, you'll look back not just on the hard things you've done, but on the person you've become in the process. Strength is forged in discomfort. The warrior mentality isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one step at a time. And as you do, you'll find yourself more prepared for whatever challenges lie ahead, knowing that you are capable of much more than you ever imagined. Build discipline through daily practice. We've all been there, dreaming big, setting lofty goals, and imagining the incredible results we want to see. We get excited, ready to jump in and make a change. But then the hard truth sets in. Results don't happen overnight. The idea of instant transformation, of suddenly being great at something, feels enticing, but it's far from realistic. We want to skip past the struggle and get straight to the end where success is waiting. But facing reality is realizing that success doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from consistent, daily effort. It comes from the discipline to keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the key that unlocks all the potential you've been hoping to tap into. I'll give you an example. Think of someone who seems naturally gifted at something. Maybe they're a musician, an athlete, or even a writer. It's easy to assume they were born with that talent. But the truth is, talent only gets you so far. The real difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the commitment to consistent practice. I remember hearing about a musician who was far from the most naturally talented in his class. He didn't have the natural ease others seemed to possess. But what he had was discipline. He practiced relentlessly, every single day. Over time, his commitment turned what seemed like an insurmountable challenge into second nature. The truth is, discipline trumps talent every time. It's the muscle that turns raw potential into results. For the next 7 days, I challenge you to choose one area of your life, whether it's a skill you want to develop, a fitness goal you want to achieve, or a personal habit you want to strengthen, and practice it daily, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour. Make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's about showing up and doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. Over the week, you'll start to see the compound effect of your efforts. Small actions, repeated consistently, begin to add up. What seemed like a slow, insignificant effort at first will snowball into something powerful. You'll start to notice improvements in your skill, your focus, and your confidence. That's the beauty of discipline. It doesn't require perfection, only persistence. But discipline isn't just about achieving external results. It's about building character. Every time you choose to practice, you're not just getting better at your chosen skill. You're growing as a person. You're teaching yourself the value of persistence, the power of consistency, and the strength that comes from pushing through resistance. It's a reminder that growth is a process, and perfection is an illusion. You don't need to be perfect to improve. You don't need to get it right every time. What matters is that you show up again and again, trusting that each practice session is a step closer to mastery. Discipline isn't about being the best right now. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. And when you take that approach, the results will follow naturally and steadily. So let go of the expectation of instant success and embrace the process. The results are inevitable when you commit to the work. Discipline, after all, is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Organize your space for greater clarity and productivity. Clutter has a way of creeping into our lives, doesn't it? Whether it's piles of paper on our desks, a chaotic inbox, or a cluttered mind that can't focus for more than a few minutes, the mess adds up. At first it seems harmless, just one more thing to deal with later. But over time, the clutter starts to weigh on us. It distracts us, makes it harder to think clearly, and drains our energy. You've probably experienced this. The more cluttered things get, the more overwhelmed you feel. Your mind mirrors the mess around you, constantly distracted and clouded, making it harder to focus and be productive. It's as if the physical mess outside reflects an internal state of disorganization. So, how do we break free from this constant feeling of overwhelm? The key lies in organizing your environment. The simple act of clearing clutter can do wonders for your mental clarity. When your space is clean, everything becomes easier. You can find what you need quickly. Your mind feels less chaotic. The energy in the room shifts. A tidy space creates room for better thinking. It's no coincidence that when we feel productive, our surroundings tend to be more organized. A well-kept space isn't just about appearances, it's about functionality. It's about reducing distractions so your mind can focus on what truly matters. Organizing your environment isn't just about creating an aesthetically pleasing space. It's about giving yourself the mental clarity to think more clearly, to work with focus, and to live with intention. I'd love to challenge you this coming week to spend just 5-10 minutes a day decluttering or organizing one space in your life. Maybe start with your desk. Clear off papers, organize your files, and give yourself a clean slate to work with. Or tackle your digital space, sort through your emails, delete files you no longer need, and organize your digital folders. Pick one small area each day, and as you declutter, notice how it makes you feel. At first, it might seem like a small, insignificant effort, but as you continue this habit each day, you'll start to see the cumulative impact. Each small act of tidying up creates more room for focus, creativity, and productivity. It's the compound effect of creating an environment where clarity can thrive. As you clear the physical clutter, take a moment to reflect on how it affects your mental state. A clean space doesn't just help you be more productive. It helps you think more clearly. It creates the mental space to focus on what's important. Just like how decluttering a room makes it easier to find what you need, organizing your thoughts and priorities becomes much easier when your environment is clean and intentional. When you make room in your surroundings, you make room in your mind. The less cluttered your environment, the more space you have to focus on your goals, your passions, and your growth. So take the first step. Start with one area today. The small wins will build up, and soon you'll realize that by organizing your space, you've also organized your mind. A clean environment isn't just about external order. It's about creating the mental clarity that leads to true productivity and peace of mind. Exercise to boost body and mind. We've all been there. The gym membership, the workout routine, the motivation that comes in waves and quickly fades. At first, we're determined to make fitness a priority. We set goals, buy the gear, and start off strong. But then, somewhere along the way, it starts to feel like a chore. The motivation wanes and working out feels like something we have to do rather than something we want to do. It's easy to get caught up in the cycle of pushing through just to check the box, but deep down we know it's not working. Exercise starts to feel like a burden rather than a gift. So, what if we could change that? What if we could see exercise not just as a physical obligation, but as an opportunity to elevate not only our bodies, but also our minds? Exercise is far more than just a way to stay in shape. It's a powerful tool for mental and emotional well-being. When you move your body, you do more than burn calories and build strength. You're improving your mood, reducing stress, and sharpening your mind. Studies show that regular physical activity boosts brain function, improves memory, and helps with emotional regulation. It's like a reset button for your mind. The endorphins released during exercise can lift your mood, calm your nerves, and increase your sense of focus and clarity. Exercise isn't just about looking better, it's about feeling better, inside and out. It's a connection that many overlook, but when you begin to experience it for yourself, it becomes impossible to ignore. A workout can be the reset your mind needs to tackle life's challenges with resilience and focus. For the next week, commit to starting with just 10 minutes of exercise each day. Keep it simple and achievable. Consistency is more important than intensity right now. Maybe you start with a brisk walk, some body weight exercises like push-ups or squats, or even a quick yoga session. The goal is not to push your limits right away, but to show up every day. Get your body moving, even if it's just for a short time. As you build this habit, try mixing it up to avoid the monotony of doing the same thing every day. Try a new workout style, explore a different activity, or challenge yourself in a new way. The key here is consistency. Don't worry about making it perfect, just commit to doing it daily. Over time, those 10 minutes will feel less like a task and more like a vital part of your routine. As you continue to exercise, think about the bigger picture. Each time you push yourself physically, you're also pushing yourself mentally and emotionally. Exercise builds resilience. It's not just about physical endurance. It's about learning how to push through discomfort, to show up even when you don't feel like it, and to grow through challenges. That moment when you feel like you can't go any further, whether you're running, lifting weights, or stretching, can teach you more about yourself than any other task. The mental toughness you develop in these moments carries over into other areas of life. You learn that you can handle more than you thought. You learn to sit with discomfort, knowing that it's temporary and that growth often comes from pushing beyond what you thought were your limits. So, as you commit to these daily workouts, remember that you're not just training your body. You're strengthening your mind, your emotions, and your resilience. Exercise isn't just physical. It's a tool for becoming the best version of yourself. When you show up for your body, you're also showing up for your mental and emotional growth. The power of small habits. As we reflect on the past week, it's easy to see that small, intentional actions add up in ways we don't always notice at first. Whether it was dedicating a few minutes each day to learning something new, embracing discomfort to build resilience, committing to daily practice, organizing your space for clarity, or incorporating exercise to strengthen both body and mind, each of these habits has laid the groundwork for something bigger. The key takeaway here is simple. 7 days, while short, is more than enough to get the ball rolling. It's the start of a journey, not the end. These small habits are like seeds that, with consistency, will grow into something meaningful and life-changing. But don't stop here. As you continue to integrate these habits into your routine, you'll begin to notice not just changes in the external world around you, but internal shifts as well. Each day you show up for yourself. Each time you decide to practice discipline, push through discomfort, or make space for growth, you're creating momentum. The beauty of momentum is that once it's in motion, it becomes easier to keep going. Each step forward builds on the one before, creating a ripple effect of change. It's not about achieving perfection or expecting instant results. It's about committing to the process, trusting that each small action compounds over time, leading to lasting transformation. Change, as we know, is rarely immediate, and it's certainly not always linear. But every day you put in the effort, you're reinforcing the foundation of a better version of yourself. The work you put in now is what will pay off in the future. So, keep going. Every single day we are presented with countless opportunities to shape our future. Yet, it's the unseen missteps that often have the longest shadows. In the spirit of Stoic philosophy, we know that wisdom isn't just about pursuing the right actions, but also about steering clear of the wrong ones. Today, we're going to explore 10 critical mistakes that can keep you from living the enlightened, purposeful life that Stoicism teaches us to aspire toward. If you appreciate diving deep into these transformative insights, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. It helps us continue to bring valuable lessons like these directly to you. Also, make sure to watch through to the end of this video because each point we discuss builds on the previous one, painting a full picture of how you can avoid these life-altering pitfalls. Let's get started and navigate these waters together, learning how to avoid common mistakes with the guidance of ancient wisdom. So often we walk through life with a silent companion named doubt. It whispers in our ears, questioning if we really deserve the dreams we yearn to reach, the happiness we seek, or even the respect we crave from others. It's a trap, one that not only diminishes our self-esteem, but directly conflicts with the empowering teachings of Stoicism. Philosophized implore us to recognize and assert our inherent value, urging us to embrace the notion that we are deserving of the good that comes our way, contrary to what our doubts might suggest. I remember sitting across from my mentor years ago in a coffee shop that buzzed with the quiet hum of mid-morning chatter. He noticed the way my eyes dodged his when I talked about my ambition. "Why do you sell yourself short?" he asked. It took me a moment to formulate an answer because, honestly, I hadn't realized I was doing it. But in that question lay a pivotal Stoic lesson. If you don't know your worth, you will always accept less than you deserve, and often less than you are capable of achieving. Think about it. How many times have you settled for something less than what you truly deserved? Maybe you thought it was all you could get, or perhaps you believed that aiming high was unrealistic. Here's where Stoicism steps in, clearing the fog made by our insecurities. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It's a call to internalize your true worth and to act in accordance with it. This doesn't mean arrogance or entitlement, but recognizing that settling for less is an injustice to the capabilities you inherently possess. Reflect on this for a moment. Every time you set the bar low, you're not only robbing yourself of a potential victory, but also denying the world the chance to witness your full potential. It's about time we break this cycle. Embrace your worth, demand what you deserve, and watch as doors begin to open, not just because you're knocking louder, but because you've finally chosen to believe in the power of your own knock. Fear, that old familiar shadow lurking in every decision, every leap towards something new or unknown. It's a powerful force, one that too often dictates our actions and leads us away from the very experiences that could foster our growth. Stoicism, with its profound wisdom, offers a different path, one where fear is observed, understood, and ultimately mastered. I can still vividly recall standing at the edge of what would be my first major public speaking event. The audience was a blur, the lights a harsh glare on the podium where I was to stand. My heart raced, not with excitement, but with the terror of potential humiliation. What if I fail? What if my voice cracks? What if my mind goes blank? These fears were almost enough to make me turn and flee. But then a line from Seneca came to me, almost as if whispered in my ear. "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." That was the moment of clarity. I realized that the fear was a natural reaction, but also a deceptive guide. It was trying to protect me from a perceived threat, not a real one. Embracing this Stoic insight, I stepped up, spoke out, and despite the butterflies, found my rhythm in my voice. The fear didn't vanish, but it lost its grip over my actions. I learned that day that facing fear, acknowledging it yet choosing to move forward in spite of it, transforms potential energy into kinetic, propelling us forward. This isn't just about speaking in public. It's about all those moments when fear whispers that you can't, or you shouldn't, or it's not worth the risk. Whether it's changing careers, ending a toxic relationship, or taking a chance on a new venture, fear often paints a picture of the worst-case scenario. Remember, he who fears death will never do anything worth living for, as Seneca so aptly put it. So how do we apply this Stoic practice to our everyday lives? It starts with recognizing that fear is but a perception, not a reality. It's about questioning the validity of what fear tells us. By confronting these fears with logic and reason, we begin to dismantle their power over us. We can then make decisions not out of fear, but out of courage and wisdom. There's a subtle thief among us, one that robs us of our contentment and destroys our sense of self-worth. The habit of constant comparison. It's like walking through life with a mirror held up to everyone else, only to use their reflections to judge our own image. But what we often forget is that these comparisons can never be fair or complete, as we are only seeing a fraction of someone else's story. I recall a time when I found myself scrolling endlessly through social media feeds, ying the achievements of my peers with a growing sense of inadequacy. Look how much more successful they are, I'd think. My own accomplishments shrinking in the shadow of others' curated headlines. It was a relentless cycle of measure and despair, until I turned to the teachings of Stoicism for solace. Marcus Aurelius, a beacon of wisdom, reminded me, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. This profound realization shifted my perspective. Why should the success of others be the yardstick by which I measure my own worth? Stoicism teaches us to focus inward, to cultivate our virtues, and to control our reactions to external circumstances. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Are you kinder, more disciplined, more forgiving? These are the comprehensive truths that truly matter, the ones that spur personal growth and general happiness. Let's break away from this cycle of comparison by fostering a mindset of self-improvement rather than competitive. Each of us is on a unique journey, equipped with different strengths and facing different challenges. When we shift our focus from competing with others to surpassing our own previous limitations, life becomes a more rewarding race against ourselves, not against others. In the relentless pursuit of our dreams and duties, it's shockingly easy to let the most critical aspect of our existence slip through the cracks: our health. We often act as if our bodies and minds are inexhaustible resources, pushing them to the brink without a second thought. But this oversight can have direct consequences, not just physically, but on every facet of our lives. I once met a man, a high-functioning executive with ambitions that stretched to the sky. His schedule was packed from dawn till dusk, chasing deal after deal, success upon success. Yet one day, amidst a crucial meeting, his body halted to a stop, a severe heart attack. That was a harsh wake-up call. Lying in his hospital bed, he shared with me his regret. I spent so much time accumulating wealth that I forgot the health to enjoy it. His story isn't unique, but it's a potent reminder of a simple yet neglected truth. Without health, nothing else matters. Stoicism teaches us about moderation and self-control, and it's a philosophy that places great emphasis on physical endurance and mental resilience. Heather, it also stresses the importance of taking care of ourselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about self-care as a duty, not only to ourselves, but to society. He believed that maintaining one's health is essential to performing one's duties. Neglecting your health in the quest for success is like building a house on a shaky foundation. It doesn't matter how beautifully it's designed or how robustly it's structured. it will eventually crumble. Therefore, it's vital to maintain the equilibrium between striving for your goals and keeping your health in check. Eat well, sleep enough, exercise regularly, and don't forget to mentally decompress. Remember, your body and mind are not separate from your aspirations. They are the very vehicles that will carry you there. Carrying the weight of past hurts is like ledging around a backpack filled with stones. It's heavy, it slows us down, and it serves no purpose on our journey forward. We've all been there, clutching onto grievances and wrongs that have been done to us, often feeling justified in our resentment. But what are we truly holding on to? A moment that's long past and a pain that only poisons our present. I once knew someone who seemed to carry the world on his shoulders. He was a close friend who had been wronged in a business deal many years ago. The betrayal consumed him. It tainted every new relationship and opportunity with suspicion and bitterness. One evening, as we talked under the starlit sky, I reminded him of a powerful Stoic principle shared by Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. I watched the realization dawn on him that his holding on to this grudge didn't punish those who wronged him, but imprisoned him instead. Letting go of grudges doesn't mean forgetting the hurt or excusing those who caused it. Rather, it's about cleaning our hearts of the bitterness that dims our light and dampens our spirit. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, a release from the past's hold, enabling you to move forward with a lighter, freer heart. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about managing them constructively, recognizing that our inner peace is far more valuable than clinging to past grievances. Think about the energy and peace we could reclaim if we chose to let go of old wounds and forgive, not for the sake of those who have wronged us, but for our well-being. It's not a simple task, nor is it one that we master overnight, but it's a vital step toward reclaiming our happiness and our lives. In the grand theater of life, we often play many roles: friend, colleague, leader, caregiver. Yet one crucial role we tend to overlook is being the architect of our own development. Investing in yourself is not a luxury. It is an essential practice for anyone who aspires to live not just an ordinary life, but an extraordinary one. Yet so many of us hesitate, bogged down by daily demands, forgetting that to pour into others effectively we must first fill ourselves. I remember meeting a woman at a conference, a seasoned professional, admired by her peers for her skills and dedication. Heavily, in a quieter moment, she confided in me her sense of stagnation, feeling as if the world was speeding by while she stood still. "When was the last time you learned something new just for yourself?" I asked her. Her pause spoke volumes. It had been years since she invested in learning new skills or broadening her knowledge. Inspired by Seneca's "Remember that as long as you live, keep learning how to live," she decided to make a change. She enrolled in a course that reignited her passion for her field and opened new doors for growth and opportunities. Investing in yourself is a broad and powerful endeavor. It goes beyond academic learning. It involves nourishing your mind, body, and spirit. It means stepping out of your comfort zone, challenging your preconceptions, and embracing lifelong learning. Whether it's picking up a new book, exploring a hobby, or taking a course, each act of investment translates into deeper self-respect, self-awareness, and enriched character. Take a moment to consider, when you neglect your personal growth, you are not just stalling your career or personal aspirations, you are denying yourself the fulfillment of your highest potential. Investing in yourself is also a profound declaration of your worth. It says to the world, and more importantly to yourself, that you value your life's journey and your capacity to influence it. So let this be a call to action. Reflect on the areas of your life where you've perhaps allowed complacency to settle in. What could you learn? What skill could you master? How could you grow? The answers to these questions are the keys to not just advancing your career or personal life, but to cultivating a rich inner world. There is a simple truth about life that many learn too late. The people around you shape you more than you realize. The play you keep influences your thoughts, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. Stoicism teaches us that we must be vigilant about who we allow into our inner circle, for the energy of those we surround ourselves with will inevitably seep into our own lives. Yet, too often we cling to relationships that drain us, friendships that keep us stagnant, and social circles that push us away from the person we aspire to be. I remember a close friend from years ago, ambitious, talented, full of potential, but his downfall wasn't his lack of discipline or intelligence. It was the people he surrounded himself with. He spent his days with individuals who mocked ambition, who saw effort as unnecessary, and who lived as though every day was meant for indulgence and nothing else. Slowly, without realizing it, he began to mirror their mindset. His dreams took a back seat. His goals became distant fantasies, and before he knew it, years had passed and he was still in the same place, wondering why he hadn't moved forward. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. It is not an act of cruelty to distance yourself from those who pull you down. It is an act of self-preservation. If the people around you are not lifting you up, they are holding you back. And the hard truth is, you cannot grow in an environment that constantly keeps you small." Take a moment and ask yourself, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Are they pushing you to be better, to be wiser, to be more disciplined? Or do they encourage distractions, negativity, and complacency? Your environment is one of the biggest predictors of your future. If you spend your time with people who complain, you will find yourself. If you surround yourself with people who settle for mediocrity, you will start to believe that mediocrity is all you should expect. This is not about cutting people off without compassion. It's about making a choice to protect your own growth. Some relationships naturally fade, while others need to be intentionally refined. The key is recognizing when a connection is doing more harm than good. Stoicism teaches us that external circumstances, including other people, are not fully within our control, but who we choose to engage with, that is entirely up to us. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, who encourage you to think deeply, and who hold you accountable to your highest standards. Seek out people who embody the virtues you want to cultivate: discipline, wisdom, resilience. And when you find these individuals, hold on to them, because they will become the foundation of the life you are trying to build. There is a silent thief that robs more people of their dreams than failure ever could: procrastination. It's deceptive because it never tells you no. Instead, it whispers, "Not today." It convinces you that tomorrow is a better time, that you'll start when things are perfect, that one more delay won't make a difference. And then one day you wake up and realize that years have passed, and those dreams you once felt burning inside you have turned to distant regrets. I once spoke to a man who had spent decades dreaming of writing a book. He would talk about it passionately, mapping out ideas, collecting notes, even telling friends that one day he would finally sit down and make it happen. But he was always waiting for the right moment, for more free time, for some external sign that it was time to begin. One evening over coffee, he sighed and said, "I wish I had started 10 years ago." And that's when it hit me. He had wasted more time thinking about his dream than it would have taken to actually make it a reality. Procrastination is the enemy of progress. Marcus Aurelius himself warned against delaying action, saying, "You could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow." The Stoicist understood that time is the one thing we can never get back, and yet it's the very thing so many of us waste the most. We act as if we are guaranteed a later date, as if life will wait for us to be ready, but life moves forward, with or without us. So ask yourself this: what have you been putting off? Is it that book you've been meaning to write? That business idea you've been too afraid to start? The healthy habits you keep telling yourself you'll adopt next week? Whatever it is, recognize that waiting is costing you far more than effort ever will. The perfect moment you're waiting for, it doesn't exist. There will always be excuses, distractions, reasons to delay. But the only way to make progress is to take action. Imperfect, messy, uncomfortable action. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll grow, learn, and improve. Every great achievement began as a first, unpolished attempt. Every master was once a beginner. Every success story started with someone who refused to wait any longer. Perfection is a marriage. It shimmers in the distance, promising greatness, yet every time you think you're close enough to reach out and grasp it, it moves further away. How many people have wasted years, even lifetimes, chasing something that doesn't exist? They tell themselves they'll start when everything is just right, when every detail is failure. And so, they wait, and life passes them by. I once knew a musician incredibly talented, someone who could move people with just a few notes on a guitar. He had dreams of recording his own album, sharing his music with the world, but every time he got close, he'd find something to fix. The lyrics weren't quite perfect, the sound wasn't exactly how he envisioned it, the timing wasn't exactly how he envisioned it, but he never released a single song. His obsession with perfection kept him locked in place, never allowing him to share his gift with the world. Stoicism warns against this trap. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. In other words, stop waiting for the perfect conditions and just start. The Stoics understood that progress matters far more than perfection because perfection is an illusion, unattainable standard that will only hold you back. Think about how much you've delayed because of this illusion. Have you ever stopped yourself from trying something new because you weren't sure you'd be good enough? Have you hesitated to put your work out there because you feared criticism? Have you kept refining, reworking, and second-guessing to the point that your ideas never see the light of day? If so, you are not alone. The fear of imperfection keeps countless people from ever stepping forward. But here's the truth. Nothing will ever be perfect. No speech will ever be written without flaws. No business will launch without obstacles. No book will ever be free of edits. And yet, the ones who succeed are the ones who begin anyway. They take imperfect action. They make mistakes. They refine as they go. The greatest achievers in history did not wait for perfection. They built, they adjusted, they improved over time. So, stop chasing something that doesn't exist. Instead, chase progress. Do the work, put it out into the world, and let yourself learn through experience. The first version of anything will never be your best, but if you don't start, you'll never get to the version that could be. Time is the one thing we can never get back. And yet, how often do we find ourselves lost in thoughts of the past, dwelling on regrets, or anxiously trying to predict a future that hasn't even arrived? We chase goals, plan endlessly, and worry about what's next, so much so that we forget to live in the only place that truly can exist, the present moment. I once met a man who had spent his entire life planning for the future. He worked tirelessly, saving money, delaying vacations, postponing passions, telling himself that one day he would finally live the life he wanted. But when that one day arrived, he realized something devastating. He had spent so much time preparing for life that he had forgotten to actually live it. The years had slipped through his fingers, and all that was left were memories of days spent waiting for something better. The Stoics understood this mistake completely. Marcus Aurelius in Meditations reminds us, do not dwell on the past, do not dream of the future, but concentrate the mind on the present moment. The past is unchangeable, the future uncertain. So why do we waste so much energy living anywhere but here? Life isn't something that will happen later. It's happening now. Think about it. How many moments have you rushed through just to get to the next thing? How often have you been so fused on your next goal, your next milestone, your next achievement that you failed to appreciate what's right in front of you? How many times have you been with loved ones, physically present but mentally elsewhere, caught up in worries or distractions? We convince ourselves that happiness is somewhere in the distance, just beyond the next success, the next relationship, the next accomplishment. But when we get there, the finish line moves. We tell ourselves that we'll slow down once things settle, that we will enjoy life once we've figured it all out. But life doesn't wait. The present moment is all we are ever truly given. So how do we stop? Lost sight of it by practicing awareness, by reminding ourselves daily that this moment is the only one that truly belongs to us, by training our minds as the Stoics did to let go of what we cannot control, the past and the future, and instead fully engage with what is happening now. Sometimes we wake up feeling like the weight of the world is squarely on our shoulders. It's that heavy, dragging sensation of being pulled into tasks and responsibilities that deep down mean very little to us personally. It's not just fatigue, it's a profound disconnection between what we do and what we wish we could do. This, my friends, is where stress breathes and flourishes. But what if I told you there's another way, a way that aligns more with the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, teaching us not just to endure, but to thrive by connecting our daily grind to our true passions. Today, we dive deep into transforming our everyday stress into genuine passion. It's not just about scraping by. It's about reshaping our lives to find fulfillment in every task, every challenge, and every seemingly mundane moment. I'm here to share how we can leverage Stoic principles to not only cope with life's pressures, but to radically redefine them. We'll explore how changing our perspective can turn an ordinary day into an extraordinary one. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, showing you a path less traveled by stress and more walked by philosophers, consider this simple, free favor. Hit the subscribe button. Don't skip any part of this video, because each piece builds on the last, crafting a mindset that's not just about surviving, but thriving. Let's get right into it. In this crazy world, we often find ourselves trapped between two powerful forces, stress and passion. Now, you might be wondering how something as heavy as stress could even exist in the same sentence as something as lively as passion. But here's the thing, both are driven by hard work, yet they lead us down vastly different paths. Stress in the traditional sense comes from grinding away at something that doesn't resonate with our core values or desires. It's like being stuck in traffic while you're already late. It builds anxiety, frustration, and even resentment. It's working late nights on a project that doesn't excite you, attending meetings that drain you, and pushing through a career that feels more like a chore than a choice. This kind of lifestyle can eat away at our well-being, making every day a battle just to keep up. On the flip side, there's passion. When we work with passion, we're fueling our efforts with something that ignites our spirit and aligns with our deeper interests. It could be as simple as coding a new software program, designing a garden, or crafting content for a YouTube channel about Stoicism. Here, even the longest hours seem short, and the hardest work can feel like play. Why? Because it's driven by love, by a genuine interest that ties directly to what makes us tick. But how do you pivot from stress to passion? First, it's about reflection and understanding what truly matters to you. What brings you joy? What are you curious about? What would you do even if you weren't getting paid for it? Start small. You don't need a massive life overhaul overnight. Instead, integrate activities that align with your interests and passions into your daily routine. Let each day be a step towards a life that feels more rewarding and less taxing. Remember, it's not merely about avoiding stress, but transforming it. See each stressful situation as a Stoic would, an opportunity to apply virtue, to practice patience, wisdom, and resilience. Every challenge is a chance to test your passion and commitment to your chosen path. We often hear about finding our why, that deep-rooted purpose that supposedly fuels our every action. But let's take a moment to truly unpack what that means and why it really matters. Having a purpose is not just a lofty ideal reserved for those with visionary ideas. It's a practical tool that each of us can harness to dramatically transform our daily experiences from mundane to meaningful. Think about the last time you felt genuinely excited about getting up in the morning. What was it that stirred that enthusiasm? Was it the promise of working on a project you care deeply about? Or perhaps the opportunity to solve a problem you're passionate about? That's purpose in action. It's powerful because it aligns your daily activities with your larger life goals, making even the smallest tasks feel significant. In Stoicism, there's a strong emphasis on living according to nature, which means recognizing and embracing your role in the bigger picture of life. For Stoics, purpose is about more than just personal fulfillment. It's about contributing to society and improving the lives of others. It's about asking yourself how you can serve, how you can contribute to the greater good, and how each action you take can be a reflection of your deepest values. Now, let's break down how you can start to live more purposefully. First, think about what you value most. Is it creativity, helping others, innovation, leadership, or family? Identifying your values is the first step toward understanding your purpose. Once you have a grasp on your values, you can start to see how they translate into everyday actions. If you value creativity, your purpose might be to bring innovation into your work. If helping others is your calling, maybe your purpose is found in mentoring or volunteering. The trick is not just to stop at knowing your purpose, but to actively integrate it into your life, which isn't always easy. It requires consistency, effort, and sometimes making tough choices. For instance, you might need to turn down a lucrative job offer if it means straying from your purpose, or you might need to invest time and money into learning a new skill that aligns more closely with your values. Living with purpose also means being prepared to meet obstacles head-on. Here's where Stoic resilience comes in handy. Stoics expect challenges and embrace them as opportunities to test their resolve and commitment to their values. When you're grounded in your purpose, obstacles become less about stress and more about learning and growth. Don't forget to reflect regularly on your journey. Are your actions still aligned with your purpose? What can you do better? Reflection is crucial because it helps you stay on track and reminds you why you started in the first place. Let's shift our focus a bit and talk about something that's really at the heart of any successful team or relationship: trust. We often get caught up in measuring success through performance metrics. How much was sold, how many goals were achieved, how scores were improved. While performance is important, it's trust that truly holds a team together and pushes everyone toward greatness. Now consider this. You're part of a team where everyone is a top performer, but you wouldn't trust half of them to watch your back in a crunch situation. It doesn't sound like a winning team, does it? That's because high performance, while valuable, can't make up for low trust. High trust creates an environment where mistakes are admitted and learned from, where vulnerabilities can be shared without fear of repercussion, and where people genuinely look out for each other. Stoicism teaches us about the importance of virtue and character. It tells us that who we are and how we treat others are the cornerstones of a meaningful life. This philosophy aligns perfectly with the idea of prioritizing trust over sheer performance. Stoics would argue that a truly effective member of society, or any team, is not just someone who does their job well, but someone who does their job well and can be relied upon to act with integrity and consider the common good. To build a culture of trust, start by being trustworthy yourself. It means doing the right thing even when no one is watching, keeping your word, and always considering how your actions affect others. It's about consistency in your actions and honesty in your feedback. When leaders and team members embody these traits, they set a standard and create a safe space for others to do the same. But how do you measure trust? Unlike performance, which can be quantified through numbers and outcomes, trust is felt and observed. It's in the way team members talk to each other, how conflicts are resolved, and how information is shared. It's about feeling confident that your colleagues will support you, not just when things are going well, but especially when they're not. This doesn't mean that performance should be ignored. Rather, it's about finding a balance where performance is driven by a strong foundation of trust. Think of it as building a house. Performance is like the windows, doors, and roof, necessary and visible, but trust, it's the foundation that keeps the house standing. Without a strong foundation, it doesn't matter how beautiful the house is, it's vulnerable to collapse at any moment. Have you ever been part of a group or community where everyone genuinely supports each other? It's kind of magical, isn't it? There's a sense of security that comes from knowing your peers not only have your back but also genuinely want to see you succeed. This is the essence of a supportive environment, and it's something that can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, both in the workplace and in our personal lives. Creating this type of environment doesn't happen by accident. It requires intention and effort. It's about more than just being friendly. It's about fostering a space where everyone feels they can share their thoughts and ideas without fear of ridicule or rejection, where mistakes are not signs of failure but opportunities for learning and growth. This kind of atmosphere encourages everyone to take risks and innovate because they know the team is there to support them, not judge them. From a Stoic perspective, support isn't just about helping others when they're down. It's about constantly looking for ways to lift others up, making it easier for them to do their best work and become their best selves. Stoicism teaches us the value of community and the importance of acting as a contributing member of that community. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the interconnectedness of all people and the idea that what is good for the community is good for the individual. In practical terms, creating a supportive environment can start with something as simple as how we communicate. It's choosing to listen first rather than respond, to ask questions when we don't understand, and to offer help without being asked. It's about recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of others and looking for ways to enable those around you to shine in their roles. Moreover, in such an environment, feedback is given constructively, with the aim of guiding and improving rather than criticizing. Celebrating each other's successes becomes a regular practice, and every milestone is acknowledged, making everyone feel valued and important. This kind of positive reinforcement not only boosts morale but also motivates everyone to keep pushing forward, secure in the knowledge that their contributions are appreciated. But it's not just about the big moments, it's also about the day-to-day interactions. A supportive environment is one where there's a shared understanding that we're all human, all trying to do our best. It's a place where you can be honest about having a bad day and know that you won't be seen as less competent, but rather as a person who might need a little extra support. There's something incredibly powerful about admitting, "I don't know." It opens doors to new knowledge and connections that having all the answers simply can't. This humility to acknowledge our gaps in understanding is not a weakness. Rather, it's a strength that fosters learning and growth. Asking questions, especially those simple ones that often get overlooked, can sometimes change the entire direction of a conversation, a project, or even a company's strategy. In the world of Stoicism, the practice of questioning is deeply valued, not just questioning others, but also ourselves. Stoics believe in the pursuit of wisdom as a fundamental part of life, and what better way to gain wisdom than by asking questions? This isn't about questioning for the sake of argument, but about genuinely seeking to understand the world better. By embracing our curiosity and admitting our ignorance, we open the door to true learning and self-improvement. We invite others to share their knowledge and experiences with us, enriching our understanding and perspectives. Consider how many times you've sat in a meeting, nodding along, not fully grasping the topic. Everyone else seems to get it, so you don't dare speak up for fear of looking foolish. But what if nobody truly understands? What if your courage to ask a clarifying question could provide everyone with a valuable pause? A moment to step back and ensure everyone is on the same page. This is not just about gaining clarity for oneself, but about enhancing collective understanding, a principle deeply aligned with Stoic values of community and mutual support. Asking the right questions can also lead to innovation and problem solving. It encourages a deeper dive into issues, rather than accepting things at face value. In many ways, this questioning can be seen as a form of mental training. It keeps our minds active and engaged, always testing the waters of what we know against what we assume. This aligns with the Stoic practice of continual self-improvement and striving for personal excellence. But let's not forget, the way we ask questions matters too. It's about fostering an environment where others feel comfortable and valued in sharing their thoughts. This approach not only helps build a culture of openness and trust, but also promotes a more collaborative and inclusive atmosphere. When people feel their input is genuinely desired, they're more likely to contribute meaningfully to discussions, leading to richer, more diverse ideas and solutions. This habit of questioning extends beyond professional scenarios. It plays a vital role in our personal relationships and self-reflections. By regularly questioning our own beliefs, decisions, and reactions, we cultivate a life of deeper understanding and fewer regrets. We learn not only about the world around us, but also about our place within it. How do our actions affect others? Are we living in alignment with our values? These are the types of questions that can lead to profound insights and transformative growth. It's so easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others, whether it's scrolling through social media feeds filled with picture-perfect lives or hearing about a friend's latest achievement. It's hard not to measure our own progress against that of those around us. Yet this habit of comparison is often a fast track to dissatisfaction and unhappiness. Why? Because there will always be someone who seems to be doing better, looking better, or living better, according to whatever standards we might be using. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this modern malaise. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus emphasized focusing on what we can control, someone else's looks, job, or lifestyle. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to turn our gaze inward, to focus on improving our own actions, reactions, and moral well-being. The real challenge and opportunity lie in fostering contentment with our own journey. This doesn't mean settling for mediocrity or not striving to improve. It means grounding our aspirations in our own values and actions, not in a competition with someone else. It's about defining success on our own terms and recognizing the unique path each of us is on. There's incredible freedom in realizing that the only person we need to be better than is the person we were yesterday. Building contentment starts with gratitude. Instead of fixating on what we lack or what others have, this shift in focus can dramatically alter our state of mind and emotional well-being. By practicing gratitude regularly, perhaps through journaling or meditation, we reinforce the habit of seeing abundance rather than scarcity in our lives. Stoicism encourages us to engage in regular self-reflection. By examining our motives, actions, and feelings, we can start to identify when we're falling into the trap of envy or unhealthy comparison. This self-awareness allows us to realign our thoughts and actions with our Stoic values, such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Each moment of awareness brings us back to a more contented state of mind. Life is often likened to a journey, and like any good adventure, it's not just the destination that counts, but also the path we take to get there. Embracing each step of the journey, with all its ups and downs, is crucial because it shapes who we are and who we become. Often we're so focused on the end goal, whether it's a job promotion, buying a house, or achieving some other marker of success, that we forget to appreciate the process itself. But it's in this process where real growth happens, where lessons are learned, and where our character is tested and strengthened. Stoicism teaches us to focus on the present and make the most of our current circumstances. Stoic thinkers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius remind us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. They advocate for living in accordance with nature, which includes accepting and embracing the natural flow of life's events, both the good and the bad. Take, for example, the concept of facing challenges. It's easy to see obstacles as hindrances, but from a Stoic perspective, each challenge presents an opportunity to practice virtues such as patience, perseverance, and courage. When we start to view life's challenges through this lens, we no longer resent them, but instead welcome them as chances to become better, more capable individuals. This shift in perception not only helps us endure, but also helps us thrive, turning potential stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Moreover, embracing the journey means acknowledging that not all lessons are learned from success. Failure, too, has invaluable lessons to offer. The Stoics understood this well, emphasizing that failure is often a better teacher than success. Each setback teaches resilience and provides clarity about what really matters. By reframing our failures as essential parts of our journey, we can continue to move forward with a clearer vision and a strengthened spirit. Additionally, the journey is about the connections we make and the lives we touch along the way. Stoicism teaches the importance of community and the role we play within it. We're encouraged to be considerate and kind, to contribute positively to our communities, and to support others in their own journeys. This focus on mutual support not only enriches our own experiences, but also contributes to a larger tapestry of interconnected lives, all journeying together. Life will test you. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and moments where you feel like everything is against you. That's a guarantee. But here's the real question. How do you respond? Do you let life break you, or do you use those challenges to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient? Mentally strong people don't crumble under pressure. They don't allow fear, doubt, or negativity to control them. Instead, they build a mindset that allows them to face anything with clarity, confidence, and inner peace. This isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about mastering yourself so that no matter what happens, you remain unshaken. The ancient Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, wrote to himself every day, reminding himself that life is unpredictable, that hardships are inevitable, but that his response was always within his control. He knew that true strength doesn't come from avoiding difficulties, but from training your mind to rise above them. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The 6 habits that separate the mentally strong from everyone else. These aren't just theories. They're practical, battle-tested principles that you can start applying today to build an unshakable mindset. So stay with me until the very end, because every single point we're about to discuss is crucial. Don't skip around or you'll miss the key that could change everything for you. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, there's one simple free favor I'll ask. Hit that subscribe button. It takes a second, but it makes a huge difference in helping us keep bringing you valuable content. Now, let's dive in. Nothing in life stays the same. The seasons change, people come and go, and the world keeps moving, whether we're ready for it or not. Yet so many of us resist change as if clinging to what's familiar will somehow stop the inevitable. But let me ask you this. Has holding on ever made life easier, or has it only made transitions more painful? We fear change because it forces us out of our comfort zones. It disrupts our routines, shakes our sense of control, and makes us question where we're headed. But here's the truth. Change is not the enemy. The real danger lies in resisting it, because the more you fight against reality, the more suffering you create for yourself. The ancient Stoics understood this well. They didn't waste energy wishing things were different. Instead, they trained themselves to adapt, to see every shift in life as an opportunity rather than a threat. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, ruled an empire during war, plague, and betrayal. He could have spent his days complaining, asking, "Why is this happening to me?" But instead, he reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very obstacles we fear are often the path forward. If we learn to work with change instead of against it, we become stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever life throws at us. Think about it. When has something unexpected forced you to grow? Maybe it was losing a job, ending a relationship, or moving to a new place. At first, it probably felt overwhelming, even painful, but looking back, didn't it also shape you into who you are today? The problem is, we only see the wisdom in change after we've survived it. But what if we could shift our mindset while we're going through it? What if instead of resisting, we asked ourselves, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to my advantage? The Stoics had a saying, amor fati, which means love your fate. Not just accept it, not just tolerate it, love it. Love the challenges, love the unexpected detours, love the things that push you to grow, even when they don't feel good in the moment. Because every change, no matter how difficult, is shaping you into someone stronger. And here's the key, mentally strong people lean into discomfort. They don't wait for perfect conditions to take action. They don't waste energy wishing things would go back to the way they were. They adapt. They adjust their sails to the winds of change instead of fighting the current, and in doing so, they remain steady no matter how stormy life gets. So, the next time change comes knocking, and it will, pause for a moment. Instead of reacting with fear, ask yourself, how can I use this? Because when you stop resisting change, you start mastering it. And that's the mindset that will carry you through anything. You've probably had moments where your emotions got the best of you, where anger led to an argument you later regretted, or fear held you back from taking an opportunity that could have changed your life. We've all been there. Emotions are powerful, and when left unchecked, they can control our actions, dictate our decisions, and even shape the course of our lives. But here's the thing. Mentally strong people don't let their emotions control them. They control their emotions. Now, that doesn't mean they suppress what they feel. Stoicism isn't about becoming an emotionless robot. It's about mastering your reactions. The Stoics understood that emotions in themselves aren't the problem. It's our response to them that determines whether they serve us or destroy us. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about the last time someone said something that irritated you. Maybe a rude comment, an unfair criticism, or even just someone cutting you off in traffic. What was your first instinct? To react immediately? To lash out? That's what most people do. But what if instead you paused for a second and asked yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? That small pause, that moment of awareness, is the difference between being ruled by your emotions and mastering them. Seneca, another great Stoic, advised that when anger rises, don't act on it right away. Give it time to settle. Because in the heat of the moment, we often make choices that we later regret. And isn't that true? How many times have we said or done something in an emotional state, only to look back and wish we had handled it differently? The truth is, emotions are like the weather, unpredictable, constantly changing, and often beyond our control. But just like a sailor doesn't try to control the wind, we shouldn't try to suppress our emotions. Instead, we should learn to navigate them. A skilled sailor adjusts their sails, knowing that the storm will pass. And in the same way, mentally strong people acknowledge their emotions, but refuse to let them steer the ship. Now, does this mean we should ignore how we feel? Not at all. The Stoics weren't about denying emotions, but rather understanding them. When fear shows up, ask, what is this fear trying to tell me? When sadness appears, ask, what lesson is hidden here? Emotions can be teachers if we learn to listen without letting them take over. And here's where it gets really powerful. Once you realize that you decide how to respond, nothing can shake you. Insults lose their sting. Failures become stepping stones. Unexpected events no longer throw you off balance because you understand that your power lies in your reaction, not in the event itself. So the next time you feel anger, fear, or frustration rising, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you are in control. Your emotions do not define you, your actions do. And the stronger your ability to manage your emotions, the stronger you become in every aspect of life. Your time and energy are your most valuable resources, yet they're also the easiest to give away. Every day, people pull you in different directions. Work demands your attention. Friends ask for favors. Family needs your support. And social media constantly fights for a piece of your mind. Before you know it, you're exhausted, stretched thin, and left with nothing for yourself. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't let the world dictate where their energy goes. They set boundaries and protect their space like their life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that our most precious asset isn't money or possessions, it's our inner peace. And yet, most of us give it away without thinking twice. Seneca warned against this when he said, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." Think about that for a moment. If someone tried to take money from your pocket, you'd resist. But when people take your time, your most irreplaceable asset, you give it away freely. Why? Maybe it's guilt, maybe it's fear of disappointing others, maybe it's the habit of always putting others first. But here's the thing, saying yes to everyone else all the time means saying no to yourself. And mentally strong people don't do that. They understand that without clear boundaries, they'll never have the time or energy to focus on what truly matters, whether that's their goals, their health, or their peace of mind. So, how do you start setting boundaries? First, recognize that it's not selfish, it's necessary. Saying no to something that drains you doesn't mean you don't care. It means you value yourself enough to protect your well-being. You wouldn't let someone walk into your home and trash the place. So why let people invade your mental space with negativity, unnecessary obligations, or constant distractions? One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they push people away. But in reality, the right people respect boundaries. The ones who don't, they were never meant to have full access to you in the first place. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, the people and energy you allow into your life shape who you become. If you surround yourself with constant stress, drama, and obligations that don't serve you, don't be surprised if you feel drained, anxious, or lost. Now let's talk about practical ways to set boundaries. First, identify what truly matters to you. What are your priorities? What fuels your energy instead of depleting it? Once you're clear on that, it becomes easier to say no to everything that doesn't align with those values. Next, practice the art of saying no without over-explaining. You don't owe anyone a detailed justification for protecting your time. A simple, "I can't commit to that right now" is enough. And most importantly, don't feel guilty. Protecting your energy isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. If you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will do it for you. At the end of the day, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about making sure you have enough energy for what truly matters. When you stop saying yes to every demand and start saying yes to yourself, you'll notice something incredible. You feel lighter, more focused, and in control of your life. And that, my friend, is the foundation of true mental strength. Life doesn't always go the way we want. We face setbacks, make mistakes, and sometimes find ourselves in situations that feel unfair. It's easy to blame circumstances, point fingers, or tell ourselves that we're just unlucky. But here's the hard truth. Mentally strong people don't waste time making excuses. They take full responsibility for their actions, their choices, and ultimately their lives. The Stoics believed that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Epictetus put it best when he said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That's what real strength looks like. Owning your decisions, learning from your mistakes, and refusing to see yourself as a victim of life's circumstance. Think about the most successful, resilient people you know. Do they sit around complaining about how unfair life is, or do they take action, adjust, and find a way forward? The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck isn't intelligence, talent, or luck, it's responsibility. When you own your actions, you take back your power. When you blame others, you give that power away. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean being overly critical of yourself or beating yourself up for past mistakes. That's not the point. The goal isn't to drown in guilt, it's to learn and improve. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, believed that every failure was an opportunity for self-reflection. He advised that at the end of each day we should review our actions and ask, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? That's how you grow, not by avoiding mistakes, but by using them as stepping stones. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Think of a challenge you're facing right now. Maybe it's a financial issue, a relationship struggle, or a personal goal you haven't achieved yet. Instead of blaming external factors, ask yourself, what part of this is within my control? What actions can I take to improve this situation? It's a shift in mindset that changes everything. The truth is, life will throw obstacles your way. You'll face difficult people, unexpected problems, and moments where things feel unfair. But the strongest people, the ones who truly thrive, are the ones who don't waste energy complaining. They adapt, they take ownership, they look at every setback as a lesson, not a punishment. So the next time you catch yourself making an excuse, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me or is it holding me back? Because at the end of the day, no one else is responsible for your success, your happiness, or your growth. That's on you. And once you fully embrace that truth, you become unstoppable. We are often our own worst critics. When we make a mistake, fall short of our goals, or struggle with something, the voice inside our head can be ruthless. Why did I mess up again? I should be doing better. I'll never get this right. If someone spoke to us the way we sometimes speak to ourselves, we wouldn't tolerate it. Yet, for some reason, we allow that harsh inner dialogue to run unchecked. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't tear themselves down. They practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. The Stoics had a deep understanding of human imperfection. They didn't expect themselves or anyone else to be flawless. Instead, they focused on progress, on learning, on growing, on improving. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, reminded himself, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, the Stoics encourage people to wake up each day with a renewed sense of purpose and self-acceptance. Think about this. When a friend makes a mistake, what do you say? You probably encourage them, remind them that they are human, and tell them to learn from it and move forward. Now, why don't we do the same for ourselves? Why do we hold ourselves to impossible standards, expecting perfection while accepting the flaws of others? Self-compassion isn't about making excuses. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. Let's be real. You will make mistakes. You will have days where you feel like you're failing, where nothing seems to go right. But beating yourself up over it doesn't make you better. It makes you hesitant, fearful, and doubtful of your own abilities. The Stoics believed that the mind is like a garden. What you plant is what grows. If you constantly feed it negative thoughts, don't be surprised when self-doubt takes over. But if you practice self-compassion, you create an environment where resilience, confidence, and self-respect can flourish. So, how do you start? First, pay attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, stop. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, then why say it to yourself? Second, learn from your mistakes instead of dwelling on them. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every challenge, every failure is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. Finally, remind yourself that growth takes time. You don't become wise overnight. You don't develop resilience in a day. Progress is slow, and that's okay. As long as you're moving forward, you're on the right path. The next time you feel tempted to criticize yourself, take a deep breath and reframe it. Instead of "I should have done better," try "I'm learning and improving." Instead of "I always mess up," try "This is a setback, not a defeat." That small shift in language makes a world of difference. At the end of the day, the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, get up, and keep moving without tearing themselves down in the process. That's the real power of self-compassion. There is no finish line when it comes to growth. The moment you think you know everything, the moment you believe you've reached your peak, that's when you start to decline. Life is always moving, always changing, and those who refuse to learn, adapt, and evolve will eventually find themselves stuck, watching as the world passes them by. But mentally strong people understand something crucial. Growth is a lifelong process. There is no point at which you arrive. You keep learning, keep improving, keep refining yourself until your very last breath. The Stoics embodied this mindset. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the world, never saw himself as above learning. Every day he read, wrote, and reflected, reminding himself of his own limitations and the vastness of what he didn't know. He once wrote, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, challenges, failures, and even setbacks are all opportunities to grow. But you have to be willing to learn from them. Many people think learning stops after school or after they reach a certain level of success. But the truth is, your ability to keep growing determines how far you go in life. The moment you stop challenging yourself, stop seeking new knowledge, stop stepping outside your comfort zone, that's when you start to stagnate. And stagnation for a strong mind is worse than failure, because at least failure teaches you something. Stagnation just keeps you in the same place, year after year, wondering why nothing is changing. So, how do you make lifelong learning a habit? First, develop intellectual humility. Understand that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. Seneca believed that wisdom is not in knowing all the answers, but in seeking them relentlessly. He wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That means reading books, having deep conversations, and studying new skills, not because you have to, but because growth itself is the reward. Second, embrace failure as part of the learning process. People who are afraid of looking foolish, of making mistakes, of stepping into the unknown, they never grow. Why? Because they avoid the very experiences that teach the most. Every time you fail, every time you struggle, you gain something invaluable: wisdom. But only if you choose to see failure as a lesson rather than a defeat. Third, challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone regularly. Growth doesn't happen in routine. It happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, in the moments when you don't have all the answers. The Stoics believed that we should seek out difficult things, not because suffering is the goal, but because growth is. Epictetus taught that we should train our minds the way an athlete trains their body, through discipline, challenge, and continuous improvement. And finally, never let ego stop you from evolving. One of the biggest barriers to learning is thinking you already know enough. The wisest people never assume they have it all figured out. They ask questions. They listen more than they speak. They remain open to new perspectives, even if they challenge their existing beliefs. That's why truly strong people, mentally, emotionally, and intellectually, are always growing. At the end of the day, life rewards those who are willing to adapt. The world changes, industries evolve, people grow. If you refuse to evolve with it, you'll get left behind. But if you commit to lifelong learning, to challenging yourself, to staying curious and open, you'll never stop growing. And that, more than anything, is what keeps you strong. Life isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about becoming strong enough to face anything. The habits we've talked about today aren't just ideas. They're tools that can help you navigate challenges, master your emotions, and build the kind of mindset that nothing can break. But remember, knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to apply it every single day. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, am I embracing change or resisting it? Am I in control of my emotions or letting them control me? Am I protecting my time, taking responsibility, practicing self-compassion, and continuing to learn? Because this daily practice is what separates those who live with strength from those who crumble under life's weight. Have you ever felt like a small boat, adrift in the vast ocean of social connections, yearning to be anchored in the hearts and minds of those around you? In this whirlwind of digital connectivity, where thousands of voices clamor for attention, it's easy to feel lost, unnoticed, and undervalued. But what if I told you that there's a timeless philosophy that can be your compass, guiding you to become not just another face in the crowd, but someone who truly matters to those around you? Welcome to a journey where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Today, we're diving deep into the art of making yourself a priority in others' lives, not through manipulation or games, but through the profound and authentic principles of Stoicism. Stay with me as we explore how to be a beacon in the sea of relationships, shining brightly enough to be seen, valued, and cherished. And if you're ready to unlock these secrets, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, share this video with your circle, and stay tuned until the end for every insightful moment. Because every second of this journey could be the key to transforming your relationship. Step 1. Context and problem. In our quest for significance in the complex tapestry of social relationships, we frequently encounter a disheartening imbalance, a pervasive sense that we hold others in higher regard than they do us. This perception, often shadowed by the disquieting feeling of being undervalued, leads us to a profound exploration of self-worth. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy rich in wisdom, offers us a beacon of guidance in this regard. The Stoic philosophy, rooted in the teachings of thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, emphasizes an internal locus of control. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, profoundly observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful statement echoes the Stoic belief that true worth and contentment arise not from external validation, but from within. It's a reminder that our value does not depend on the whims or perceptions of others, but on our own self-perception and inner resilience. Seneca, another stalwart of Stoicism, accentuated the importance of self-reliance and inner fortitude. He eloquently stated, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." This insight underscores the necessity of self-awareness and having a clear understanding of our own values and goals. In the context of our social relationships, it suggests that knowing ourselves and our worth is the first step in being valued appropriately by others. Epictetus, with his emphasis on the dichotomy of control, reinforces this Stoic approach. He argued that we must focus on what is within our power, our responses, our attitudes, and our actions, and let go of our concern over how others perceive us. This detachment from external validation is liberating and empowers us to cultivate a sense of self-worth that is independent of others' opinions. The Stoic approach to finding worth within oneself resonates with contemporary psychological theories as well. Carl Jung, a pivotal figure in the field of psychology, once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This aligns with the Stoic principle of authentic living, the idea that true value and happiness are found in living in accordance with one's own nature and virtues. Step 2. Solution and application. In this exploration of strengthening our significance in the lives of others, we turn to the rich wellspring of Stoicism and the broader landscape of philosophical thought for practical methods. The focus here is not on manipulation or superficial tactics, but rather on fostering a wise and sincere approach to building authentic, high-value relationships. At the heart of Stoicism lies the wisdom of understanding and controlling what is within our power. As Epictetus famously stated, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." In the context of relationships, this means focusing on our actions, reactions, and the genuine nature of our interactions with others. By doing so, we enhance the quality of our presence in others' lives, making it more likely for them to genuinely value and appreciate us. Marcus Aurelius, another renowned Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of authenticity in our interactions. He advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This speaks to the core of forming high-value relationships, being genuine, kind, and true to our principles in all our interactions. By embodying the virtues we admire, we naturally attract people who value these qualities, thereby establishing a foundation for meaningful and enduring relationships. Furthermore, Seneca's teachings on the brevity of life and the importance of living in accordance with nature remind us to value the time we spend with others. He said, "Life, if well lived, is long enough." This underscores the idea of being fully present and engaged in our interactions, making every moment count. By bringing our full attention and sincerity to our relationships, we signal to others that they are important to us, inviting a reciprocal appreciation and deepening of the bond. The application of these Stoic principles is also reflected in the broader philosophical context. Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, or flourishing, is achieved through virtuous activities that constitute a life well lived. In the realm of relationships, this translates to engaging in interactions that are mutually enriching, honest, and respectful. By striving for personal excellence in how we treat others, we cultivate relationships that are not only valuable, but also contribute to our overall well-being and fulfillment. Carl Jung's insights into the psyche further illuminate this approach. He believed in the power of individuation, the process of becoming aware of oneself and the world around us. Jung stated, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. This perspective encourages us to engage in relationships as whole, self-aware individuals, capable of profound connections that transform and enrich both parties. Step 3. Stoic principle. The Stoic philosophy, deeply rooted in the wisdom of thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, provides profound insight into the nature of relationships and self-worth. The saying, "Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are," reflects not just the impact of our social circle on our identity, but also the significance of reciprocity in relationships. Stoicism encourages us to examine these dynamics closely, particularly the value we assign to ourselves and how this is reflected in our interactions with others. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, emphasized the importance of self-reflection in understanding one's value in relationships. He believed in looking inward to find true worth rather than seeking validation externally. Aurelius famously said, "The value of a man is measured by the value he places on himself." This highlights the Stoic principle that our self-worth should not be excessively dependent on others' perceptions or priorities. Instead, it should be grounded in our own understanding of our value and contribution. Seneca, another key Stoic figure, spoke about the balance between being social beings and maintaining our independence. He advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." This suggests choosing relationships that are mutually beneficial and uplifting, rather than being in ones where we feel undervalued or neglected. Seneca's guidance implies that being needy or overly dependent on others for our sense of self-worth can lead to unfulfilling relationships. Instead, we should cultivate relationships that encourage mutual growth and respect. Epictetus, known for his teachings on control and acceptance, also touches upon this subject. He said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Applying this to relationships, it means understanding that we may not always be a priority for others, and that's okay. What we can control is how we respond to this realization and how we value ourselves in these dynamics. Western philosophy and psychology echo these sentiments. Aristotle spoke of the golden mean, where virtue lies in finding a balance, in this case between valuing oneself and valuing others in a relationship. Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist, emphasized the importance of individuation, where understanding and integrating aspects of oneself leads to personal growth and healthier relationships. Step 4. Practical actions in the quest to be more valued in our relationships. Stoicism offers a pragmatic and dignified approach centered around the management of our presence and availability. This philosophy, deeply rooted in the wisdom of luminaries like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, provides guidance on how to navigate our social interactions with grace and intention. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, highlighted the importance of valuing one's time and presence. He taught that time is one of the few things under our control in a world governed by fate and external circumstances. By judiciously managing our availability, we signal to others the value of our time and, in turn, increase our own worth in their eyes. Aurelius believed in the principle of purposeful action, which includes making conscious decisions about when and how to engage with others. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, echoed this sentiment. He advised that we should be selective with our company and time. Seneca's teachings suggest that by occasionally withdrawing our presence, we allow others to appreciate our value more fully. He wrote, "True happiness is to be free from the yoke of our own desires and to be able to relax and lay aside our anxiety. This relaxation includes not succumbing to the need for constant social validation and understanding the power of absence in enhancing our relationships." Epictetus, a Greek Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of focusing on what we can control. He said, "Only the educated are free." In the context of relationships, this education involves understanding that we have the power to manage our time and attention. By controlling our availability, we assert our freedom and self-respect, which, in turn, leads others to value and respect us more. Western philosophy and psychology also support these Stoic principles. Aristotle spoke about the golden mean, advocating for a balance in all things. In terms of social interactions, this means finding a middle ground between being overly available and completely inaccessible. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, emphasized the importance of individuation, which involves understanding and integrating one's own needs and boundaries. This self-awareness leads to healthier interactions, where one's time and presence are valued. In practical terms, to be more valued by others, we can start by judiciously managing our availability. It's not about playing games or being elusive, but about respecting our own time and teaching others to do the same. By occasionally allowing people to miss us, we create a healthy dynamic where our presence is appreciated and sought after. Remember, it's not about controlling others or the outcomes of our relationships, but about managing our own actions and choices with wisdom and dignity. Step 5. Developing patience. In Stoic philosophy, the concept of patience is elevated to an art form, a crucial skill for thriving amidst life's perpetual turmoil. This perspective, deeply embedded in the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, resonates with timeless relevance. Marcus Aurelius, renowned for his meditative reflections, saw patience as a form of inner fortress. He believed that our inner peace should not be at the mercy of external events. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This statement encapsulates the Stoic essence of patience. It's not about waiting idly for circumstances to change, but about maintaining a composed and resilient mindset, regardless of what life throws our way. Seneca, another luminary in Stoic thought, echoed similar sentiments. He viewed patience as a conscious resistance against the rushing tides of life, a means of maintaining dignity and grace under pressure. The greatest remedy for anger is delay, Seneca advised, suggesting that patience is a deliberate choice to pause and reflect rather than react impulsively. This approach is far from passive. It's an active engagement with our emotional landscape, mastering our impulses in favor of thoughtful responses. Epictetus, known for his practical wisdom, placed great emphasis on the dichotomy of control, teaching that while we cannot control external events, we have absolute power over our reactions. Patience, from this viewpoint, is a manifestation of this control, a serene assertion of our ability to endure and persevere. No man is free who is not master of himself, Epictetus asserted, highlighting that true freedom comes from self-mastery, of which patience is a vital component. From a broader Western philosophical and psychological perspective, patience aligns with the ideals of emotional regulation and resilience. Aristotle's concept of the golden mean advocates for a balanced approach to life, suggesting that patience is a midpoint between passive inaction and rash impulsiveness. Carl Jung's focus on individuation, the process of becoming aware of oneself, aligns with the Stoic practice of patience. By understanding and managing our emotions, we attain a level of self-awareness and maturity that enhances our interactions with others and our environment. In contemporary terms, practicing patience means embracing the present moment without being overwhelmed by the desire for immediate results or responses. It's about maintaining composure in a fast-paced, often chaotic world. This quality makes us more attractive to others because it exudes confidence and stability. People are naturally drawn to those who display calmness and resilience in the face of adversity. Step 6. Self-prioritization. In the realm of Stoicism, the practice of self-prioritization is not just encouraged but seen as a necessary aspect of a balanced life. This notion finds echoes across various Western philosophical and psychological thoughts, emphasizing the importance of valuing oneself to be valued by others. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher, highlighted the significance of self-regard. He famously stated, "If you do not have respect for yourself, no one else will." This quote underscores the Stoic belief that self-respect is the cornerstone of how others perceive and treat us. When we prioritize our needs and learn to say no, we communicate to others that our time and energy are precious and deserve respect. Seneca, another Stoic thinker, argued for the virtue of self-care. He believed that caring for oneself is essential to living a fulfilled life. We are not given a short life, but we make it short, and we are not ill-supplied, but wasteful of it, Seneca wrote, implying that failing to prioritize ourselves leads to a wasted life. By saying no when necessary, we manage our resources wisely and lead a life of quality, not just in terms of time, but in our relationships and endeavors. Epictetus emphasized the concept of control, particularly over our actions and choices. He taught it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This idea is crucial in understanding self-prioritization. When we choose to prioritize our own needs, we are actively deciding how to react to the demands of others, thereby maintaining control over our lives. From a broader psychological perspective, Carl Jung's concept of individuation aligns with this Stoic practice. Jung believed in the importance of understanding oneself as an individual, separate from the collective. Prioritizing oneself is a step toward achieving this individuation, leading to a stronger, more defined personality that commands respect and importance from others. Aristotle's notion of the golden mean, the desirable middle between two extremes, also supports the idea of self-prioritization. Aristotle taught that virtue lies in finding balance, which includes balancing our own needs with the needs of others. Saying no is not an act of selfishness, but a practice of maintaining this balance. By applying these Stoic and philosophical principles, we learn that prioritizing ourselves is not an act of selfishness, but a necessary step toward being valued and respected by others. It teaches us to manage our personal resources effectively and sets a standard for how others should treat us. When we demonstrate that we value our own time and efforts, we naturally inspire others to do the same. This act of self-respect not only benefits our mental and emotional well-being, but also enhances our social and professional relationships. Step 7. Time management. In the teachings of Seneca, a luminary in the Stoic school of philosophy, we find profound insights on the wise use of time, a concept that resonates deeply in both ancient wisdom and contemporary thought. Seneca's perspective on time management is not just about efficiency or productivity, it's about the quality of life and making conscious, meaningful choices. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, famously stated, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements. If it were all well invested." This quote encapsulates the Stoic view that time, once lost, is something we can never regain. Therefore, Seneca urges us to be selective with whom we spend our time and how we spend it, emphasizing that our time is a precious and limited resource that should be used wisely and purposefully. This Stoic principle aligns with the thoughts of Aristotle, who believed in the importance of pursuing activities that enrich our soul. Aristotle taught that eudaimonia, or flourishing, is the highest good for human beings, and this can only be achieved by living a life of virtue and engaging in activities that fulfill our true nature. By managing our time wisely, we can devote more of it to activities that contribute to our personal growth and happiness. Plato, another great philosopher, also touched on the importance of self-reflection and personal growth. He believed that an unexamined life is not worth living. In this context, the wise management of time includes periods of introspection and contemplation, allowing us to understand ourselves and our place in the world better. From a psychological standpoint, Carl Jung's concept of individuation further supports the idea of wise time management. Jung emphasized the importance of personal development and self-realization. By choosing how we spend our time, we can engage in activities that contribute to our personal and psychological growth. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, also stressed the importance of focusing on what is within our control. He taught that we should not squander our time on things beyond our control, but instead focus on our actions and choices. This approach to time management is about making conscious decisions that reflect our values and goals. Step 8. Autonomy. Epictetus, a philosopher renowned for his profound insights into the nature of happiness and the good life, presents a compelling argument about the essence of true freedom. His assertion, "No man is free who is not master of himself" encapsulates a fundamental principle of personal autonomy and self-mastery. This concept, deeply rooted in Epicurean philosophy, emphasizes the importance of controlling our decisions and emotions as a pathway to enhancing our self-worth and autonomy. Epicurus's philosophy, though distinct from Stoicism, shares the conviction that inner peace and freedom stem from self-governance. He believed that pleasure, understood as the absence of pain and disturbance, is achieved through simple living, the cultivation of personal virtues, and the management of desires. This perspective encourages us to reflect on our emotional responses and decision-making processes, suggesting that true freedom is found not in external circumstances but in how we manage our internal states. This idea resonates with the Stoic teachings of Epictetus, who famously said, "We are disturbed not by events, but by the views which we take of them." Epictetus emphasizes that our perception of events, more than the events themselves, determines our peace of mind. This Stoic view aligns with Epicurus's emphasis on internal mastery as the key to freedom. From a broader philosophical perspective, Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, or flourishing, is achieved through the exercise of virtue and rationality, echoing the sentiment of self-mastery. Aristotle believed that living according to reason and virtue leads to the highest form of happiness, a state that is closely linked to having control over one's actions and emotions. In the realm of psychology, Carl Jung's emphasis on individuation, the process of becoming aware of one's self, aligns with this idea. Jung believed that becoming conscious of our inner world and integrating different aspects of our personality leads to psychological wholeness and autonomy. This process involves understanding and managing our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, much like what Epictetus and the Stoics advocate. Plato's philosophy also underscores the importance of self-governance. In his dialogues, Plato often explores the theme of ruling one's self as a precondition for ruling others. He suggests that self-mastery and the ability to govern one's passions and impulses are essential for a harmonious and virtuous life. In a world that never stops moving, where every moment is filled with noise, demands, and relentless pressure, finding true peace might seem like a distant dream. But what if I told you that tranquility isn't found in escaping your life, but in changing how you live it? This isn't about retreat. It's about transformation. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy designed for modern chaos, teaches us not just to survive, but to thrive amidst life's storms by mastering the art of control. Control not over others, but over ourselves. Welcome to Stoic Journal, where ancient wisdom meets modern challenges. If you're ready to embrace Stoic strategies that will empower you to sail through life's turbulent waters with grace and resilience, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the core of Stoicism, exploring how this timeless wisdom can be more than just a philosophy. It can be a practical toolkit for living a richer, more resilient life. So, if you're looking to turn challenges into opportunities and cultivate a steadfast serenity that lasts, stay tuned. Together, we'll unlock the secrets of Stoicism and discover how to harness its power every single day. Join me in embracing a life where every obstacle becomes a stepping stone to personal growth and fulfillment. If you appreciate what we're doing here and want to support this journey into Stoicism, a simple favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. And don't skip any part of the video. We've packed it with insights that unfold step by step, each one building on the last to transform your understanding and your life. When we dive into the teachings of Stoicism, one of the most powerful and life-changing principles we encounter is the concept of control. It's fascinating how this ancient philosophy, developed over 2 millennia ago, provides us with a tool so essential for our modern hectic lives. Stoicism teaches us a simple yet profound truth. Our true power lies not in extending our reach over the external world, but in mastering our own inner responses. This concept isn't about gaining control over others or the circumstances we find ourselves in. Rather, it's about understanding what is truly within our grasp, our thoughts, our reactions, and our actions. Think about it. How often do we find ourselves feeling frustrated or upset over things we simply cannot change? Maybe it's the weather ruining our weekend plans or a friend running late to a meetup. Our natural inclination might be to let these external events disturb our peace. However, Stoicism invites us to shift our focus. Instead of ruminating on the uncontrollable, Stoicism encourages us to ask, what can I control in this situation? The answer is almost always related to our internal state, our mindset, our readiness to adapt, and our decision on how to respond. This principle of focusing on what we can control helps us build resilience against the chaos of everyday life. By anchoring our energy on our internal state, we create a kind of mental fortress that external circumstances cannot breach. For instance, when facing a traffic jam that makes us late for an important appointment, instead of stewing in anger and frustration, Stoicism teaches us to use that time to reflect, plan our day, or simply enjoy some music. This change in perspective doesn't alter the traffic, but it dramatically transforms our experience of it. Moreover, understanding control is about accepting the limits of our influence. This acceptance does not mean resignation, but rather a strategic redirection of our efforts toward areas where we can make a real impact. It's like being the captain of a ship in a storm. While you can't control the storm, you have the authority over how you steer the ship and manage the crew. This metaphor encapsulates the Stoic approach, managing our ship, ourselves, with wisdom and integrity, regardless of the storm and challenges around us. Practicing this Stoic principle also means preparing ourselves for various outcomes. It teaches us to remain composed, not only when things go our way, but also when they don't. This level of detachment from outcomes is incredibly freeing. It allows us to engage in our activities with full effort and commitment, but without the heavy burden of needing certain outcomes for our happiness. This is what Stoics mean when they talk about selective indifference, caring deeply about our actions and efforts, while being indifferent to the fluctuations of fortune. The Stoic understanding of control is a powerful antidote to stress and anxiety. It grounds us in the present and focuses us on the actionable, empowering us to live with intention and tranquility. By internalizing this lesson, we don't just cope with life's unpredictabilities, we thrive amidst them. We become proactive participants in our lives, choosing responses that align with our deepest values, rather than being reactive to every external stimulus. Embracing the Stoic practice of focusing on what we can control doesn't happen overnight. It requires mindfulness, self-reflection, and regular practice. But the rewards, increased serenity, effectiveness, and a profound sense of empowerment, are well worth the effort. As we continue to explore Stoicism, let's keep this foundational principle in mind. It's not just about reading and understanding Stoic philosophy, it's about living it, one controlled, thoughtful response at a time. In Stoic philosophy, virtue is not just a moral compass, but the very core of a fulfilling life. It's interesting how Stoicism aligns the pursuit of virtue with the pursuit of happiness, a concept that might seem counterintuitive in today's fast-paced world, where happiness is often equated with pleasure or success. But Stoics view it differently. For them, happiness isn't found in external achievements or material possessions, but in living a life of virtue. So, what exactly does virtue mean in Stoicism? It encompasses four main qualities: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Each of these virtues plays a crucial role in how we navigate our lives. Wisdom involves the insightful understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Courage is about facing life's challenges with resilience and bravery. Justice relates to treating others with fairness and kindness. Temperance is the art of self-control and moderation. Together, these virtues form the Stoic ideal of a well-lived life. The Stoic pursuit of happiness through virtue is fundamentally different from the fleeting pleasures we often chase. Stoicism teaches us that true happiness is a state of inner peace and satisfaction that comes from knowing you've lived well according to your own principles. This kind of happiness is stable and enduring. It doesn't evaporate when external conditions change, because it's based not on what happens to us, but on how we choose to respond. This approach to happiness is incredibly empowering. It suggests that regardless of our external circumstances, we have the capacity to cultivate happiness within ourselves by developing virtuous qualities. Think about the implications of that. It means that our emotional and psychological well-being doesn't have to be at the mercy of our surroundings or situations, which are often beyond our control. Instead, happiness becomes something we actively build through our choices and actions. Practicing Stoic virtue also means striving to be better each day. It's about personal growth and self-improvement. For instance, when we practice temperance, we learn to resist impulses that might lead to excess or harm. When we practice justice, we contribute positively to our communities, promoting a sense of goodwill and support. Each act of virtue not only enhances our own lives, but also touches the lives of others around us, creating a ripple effect of positivity. Moreover, the Stoic link between virtue and happiness teaches us about the importance of aligning our actions with our values. In a world where we are often pulled in different directions by conflicting desires and pressures, Stoicism offers a clear directive: focus on living virtuously. This simplifies decision-making and reduces the stress and anxiety associated with trying to please everyone or achieve perfection. It guides us to focus on being good, rather than merely feeling good or looking good. Embracing Stoic virtues isn't about suppressing emotions or denying pleasure. It's about finding a deeper, more meaningful kind of happiness that sustains us through life's ups and downs. It challenges us to look beyond immediate gratification and consider the long-term effects of our actions on our character and well-being. In practice, living a life of Stoic virtue can be challenging. It requires constant vigilance and effort. It asks us to be mindful of our actions and choices, to reflect regularly on our behavior, and to strive continually towards embodying the Stoic ideals. But the payoff is immense. As we align more closely with these virtues, we find that our lives are richer, our relationships are stronger, and our souls are calmer. So, as we journey through the teachings of Stoicism, let's keep in mind that virtue is the key to genuine, lasting happiness. It's not an easy path, but it is a rewarding one, filled with growth, resilience, and a deep sense of fulfillment. In the pursuit of Stoic happiness, every step we take in virtue is a step towards a more peaceful and meaningful life. One of the most compelling aspects of Stoicism is how it teaches us to reframe our perceptions to change our reality. This concept might sound a bit like modern psychology, and you'd be right to think there are parallels. Stoicism, however, takes this idea back thousands of years and integrates it into a broader philosophy that addresses how we can lead fulfilling lives by focusing on what we truly control. So, how does Stoicism help us reframe our perception? It starts with the premise that it's not the events themselves that upset us, but rather our opinions about them. For example, if you get caught in a rainstorm and feel miserable, it's not necessarily the rain that's causing your misery, it's your perception of the situation. Perhaps you see the rain as an annoyance rather than a natural occurrence that brings much-needed water to the earth. This shift in thinking, from seeing the rain as a personal inconvenience to viewing it as a beneficial ecological event, changes your emotional response to it. This Stoic principle of reframing perception is incredibly powerful because it puts us back in the driver's seat of our own emotions. Instead of being tossed around by external events, we get to choose our responses. This is done through what Stoics call the dichotomy of control, which is simply distinguishing between what we can control and what we can't. We can't control the weather, the traffic, or other people's actions, but we can control our reactions to these things. Let's dive a bit deeper into how this works in practice. Imagine you're working on a project at work, and suddenly there's a change in project direction due to external factors beyond your control. You might initially feel frustrated or anxious about the changes and additional work. However, by applying Stoic thinking, you can reframe this situation. Instead of viewing it as a setback, see it as an opportunity to learn new skills or to demonstrate your flexibility and creativity. This doesn't just change how you feel about the situation, it changes the situation itself in terms of your experience of it. Moreover, this reframing of perception, according to Stoic principles, goes beyond mere positive thinking. It's about seeing the truth of a situation more clearly. It involves understanding the nature of the world as one of change and unpredictability. and then aligning our expectations and actions accordingly. This alignment reduces our disappointments and enhances our resilience, as we are no longer fighting against the inevitable flow of life, but moving with it. The practice of reframing perception also encourages us to focus on the present moment, instead of getting lost in regrets about the past or worries about the future. Stoicism teaches us to concentrate on the here and now, on what we are doing at this moment, and how we can do it with virtue. This focus is liberating because it narrows down the vast array of things that might concern us to the few things we can actually influence. Reframing perception and reality in Stoicism isn't just a coping mechanism, it's a transformative process that leads to true inner peace. By consistently applying this Stoic practice, we begin to see that many of the walls we face are ones we have built ourselves with our misconceptions and misplaced beliefs. Breaking down these walls doesn't just change our view of the world, it changes the world we live in. The Stoic practice of reframing our perceptions is about understanding the true nature of events, recognizing our power to choose our responses, and focusing our efforts on what we can actually influence. This approach doesn't just help us handle life's challenges more effectively, it empowers us to lead lives marked by calm, clarity, and purpose. As we continue to explore and apply these Stoic teachings, we find that the quality of our lives is not determined by external circumstances, but by the perceptions and choices we make. In Stoicism, one of the most profound and perhaps most challenging concepts is amor fati, which translates to love of fate. This isn't just about accepting whatever life throws at us. It's about embracing it with open arms, not just as an unavoidable reality, but as something beneficial and necessary for our growth. It's a powerful idea that turns potential adversity into a source of strength. How do we begin to not just accept but love our fate? It starts with understanding that everything that happens can be seen as an opportunity. Stoicism teaches us that our character is formed not through our experiences, but through our responses to those experiences. When we love our fate, we are essentially saying that we trust in the natural flow of life and believe there is value in whatever happens. This doesn't mean we desire or wish for suffering or hardship, but rather that we find peace and purpose in the inevitability of such experiences. The beauty of amor fati lies in its radical optimism. Instead of fighting against the currents of life, we learn to swim with them. This perspective doesn't come easily, of course. It requires a deep philosophical shift, a sort of mental rewiring that allows us to see the silver linings in dark clouds, without being naive or dismissive of the hardships. For example, if you lose a job, it's natural to feel upset and anxious. However, embracing amor fati would involve a shift in perspective, where you might see this event as an opportunity to pursue a path more aligned with your true passions, or to develop resilience and adaptability. Embracing amor fati also means letting go of bitterness and regret. Stoicism doesn't ask us to forget the past or ignore the pain. Instead, it encourages us to acknowledge our feelings, but not to allow them to control us. By loving our fate, we accept the past for what it is, a part of our journey that has led us to where we are now, contributing to who we have become. This acceptance frees us from the weight of past grievances, allowing us to move forward with a lighter spirit and a clearer mind. Moreover, amor fati is about finding joy in the journey itself, not just a destination. It's easy to think we'll be happy when we reach a certain milestone, when we get that job, when we buy that house, when we retire. But Stoicism teaches us that there's a profound joy available to us right here and now, in this very moment, if only we choose to see and embrace it. This doesn't mean we stop striving or becoming. It means we cherish the process as much as, if not more than, the outcomes. In practical terms, living with amor fati can start with small steps. It might mean taking a moment each day to reflect on something that didn't go as planned and finding something valuable in that experience. Perhaps it taught you a lesson, or maybe it strengthened a relationship through shared struggle. It could also involve more significant life changes, such as choosing a career path that feels true to your core values, even if it's less conventional or secure. trusting that the challenges along the way will enrich your life's narrative. Amor fati enriches our lives by deepening our connection to the world and to ourselves. It helps us cultivate an inner resilience that acts as an anchor in the stormy seas of life. This love of fate doesn't make life easier, but it does make us stronger and more harmoniously aligned with the natural course of events. As we continue to explore Stoicism, let's try to see amor fati not just as a philosophical concept, but as a daily practice, a way to embrace each moment, each challenge, and each joy that life offers. By doing so, we transform our relationship with life itself, turning every experience into a pathway to greater wisdom and peace. Embarking on the journey to Stoicism is like starting a profound adventure, one that invites us to explore deep insights into our lives and fundamentally change how we interact with the world around us. It's not merely about learning a set of theories. It's about transforming those theories into everyday practices that strengthen our resilience, enhance our happiness, and deepen our understanding of life. The journey begins with a simple yet profound shift in perspective, recognizing that while we can't control external events, we can control our responses to them. This realization is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's a liberating concept that frees us from feeling victimized by circumstances or other people's actions. Instead, it empowers us to take charge of our inner world. As we delve deeper into Stoicism, we learn to cultivate 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Each of these virtues is not just an abstract ideal, but a practical guide to living well. Wisdom teaches us to see things as they really are. Courage gives us the strength to face challenges head-on. Justice guides us to treat others fairly. And temperance helps us find balance in all things. Embracing these virtues in daily life can be challenging, but also incredibly rewarding. Another key aspect of the Stoic journey is developing mindfulness, being fully present in the moment. This practice helps us become more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and reactions. By observing ourselves without judgment, we can start to identify patterns that might lead us away from our Stoic ideals. For instance, we might notice that we tend to react impulsively when we're stressed, or that we hold on to grudges longer than is healthy. Awareness is the first step toward change. Practical exercises are also integral to this journey. One such exercise is the evening reflection, where we review our day and assess how well we lived up to our Stoic principles. Did we handle a stressful situation with composure? Did we treat everyone we encountered with fairness and kindness? These reflections not only help us learn from our experiences, but also reinforce our commitment to living a Stoic life. The journey to Stoicism also involves embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. This perspective shift is essential because it turns every obstacle into a teacher. When we face difficulties, instead of feeling defeated, we can ask ourselves, what can this situation teach me? This approach not only makes us more resilient, but also more open to learning and personal development. Furthermore, Stoicism encourages us to build a community or seek out like-minded individuals who are also on this path. Having a support system can be incredibly beneficial, as it provides us with encouragement, different perspectives, and companionship on our journey. Sharing experiences and challenges with others who understand and appreciate Stoic principles can enhance our own understanding and application of Stoicism. Finally, the journey to Stoicism is a lifelong pursuit. It's not about reaching a state of perfection, but about striving toward continuous improvement. It's about becoming more virtuous, more resilient, and more aligned with our true selves each day. As we progress, we'll find that the rewards of this philosophical path are not just about personal tranquility and resilience. They extend to improving our relationships with others and positively impacting the world around us. The journey to Stoicism is about growth and transformation. It challenges us to look inward, reassess our values, and align our actions with those values. It teaches us to be strong in the face of adversity and compassionate in our dealings with others. It's a path that not only enhances our own lives, but also has the potential to enrich the lives of everyone around us. Let's embrace this journey with open hearts and minds, ready to learn and grow in ways we might never have imagined. Integrating Stoicism into daily life is about much more than adopting a philosophical outlook. It's about transforming abstract Stoic principles into concrete actions and habits that enhance our everyday experiences. Practical Stoicism isn't just for times of crisis or philosophical reflection. It's for the ordinary moments, the everyday decisions, and the small challenges that shape our lives. The first step in practicing Stoicism daily is starting each day with intentionality. This means setting a few minutes aside each morning to contemplate the day ahead and remind ourselves of the Stoic virtues we aim to embody: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's about asking ourselves how we can apply these virtues in the day's activities. For example, how will I exhibit temperance in my eating habits or spending? How can I practice courage in my workplace or personal challenges? This morning ritual sets a purposeful tone for the day, aligning our actions with our Stoic ideals. Throughout the day, practical Stoicism involves being mindful of our reactions to events and people. It's about observing our automatic responses and asking whether they align with Stoic principles. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of reacting with frustration or anger, we pause and consider a more measured Stoic response. This might mean taking a deep breath and recalling the Stoic view that we can control our reactions, even if we can't control external events. This habit of pausing and choosing our response can transform our interactions and significantly reduce stress and conflict in our lives. Another key aspect of practical Stoicism is dealing with negative emotions effectively. Stoicism teaches us that negative emotions are often the result of mistaken judgments or excessive attachments to things beyond our control. When we feel overwhelmed by negative emotions, it's helpful to step back and analyze their source. Are we upset because of something outside our control? Are we placing too much importance on external validation or material success? By questioning the roots of our emotions and aligning our expectations with Stoic principles, we can regain our composure and perspective. Practical Stoicism also extends to how we handle interpersonal relationships. Stoics emphasize the importance of justice and kindness in dealing with others. This means practicing empathy, being fair in our judgments, and considering the common good in our decisions. It's about treating others with respect and understanding, even when we disagree or when others do not treat us as we'd hope. By embodying these virtues in our relationships, we not only live more stoically but also contribute to a more harmonious and supportive community. In our pursuit of personal growth, practical Stoicism encourages us to reflect on our day each evening. This isn't about harsh self-criticism, but about honest self-assessment. What did I do well today? Where could I have been more stoic? This practice of evening reflection helps solidify the day's lessons and prepares us to be even more virtuous and resilient tomorrow. It reinforces the Stoic commitment to continual improvement and helps us track our progress in living a Stoic life. Finally, practical Stoicism involves embracing challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. This means viewing obstacles not as impediments but as chances to practice and strengthen our Stoic virtues. Whether it's a difficult project at work, a personal setback, or an unexpected change in plans, each challenge is a chance to apply Stoic wisdom and resilience. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, Stoicism becomes not just a philosophy we read about, but a vibrant, living guide. It influences how we think, how we react, how we relate to others, and how we understand the world. Through practical Stoicism, we don't just survive the vicissitudes of life, we thrive amidst them, finding deeper satisfaction and peace in our journey through life. As we close today's journey into the heart of Stoicism, remember that embracing this philosophy is about more than just understanding. It's about living. Each moment, each decision, and each challenge offers a new opportunity to practice resilience, wisdom, and virtue. By integrating Stoicism into our daily lives, we don't just change ourselves, we change our entire world, one thoughtful action at a time.